Warrior Lore. Chapter 3901. Huh? All the experts of the Angel race and Phoenix race have been blocked by the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. It's over. The experts of the Angel race and the Phoenix race are doomed. What kind of terrifying weapon is that? To think that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had such a powerful trump card. Doesn't this mean that the experts of the Angel race and the Phoenix race are doomed? This is bad. Our experts of the Phoenix race and the Angel race have been sealed. Above the starry sky city, all the experts and disciples watched the scene in shock. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace was still standing there. However, that terrifying treasure had already blocked the escape route of the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan. It had completely sealed them off. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace still had a powerful trump card, especially the disciples of the Phoenix race and the Angel race. They felt their vision go black when they saw this scene. In the Starry Sky City, there were about 300,000 to 400,000 ordinary disciples of the Phoenix race and the Angel race. Now that they saw this situation, they knew that their experts would not be able to escape. Next, they were afraid. The disciples of the Phoenix race and the Angel race had extremely ugly expressions. The Phoenix race and the Angel race's rulers are doomed. The experts of the various peak races said. Their faces were also filled with astonishment. Buzz, 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 buzz. At this moment, two figures flew out from the teleportation array. Of these two figures, one was holding a radiant scepter, while the other was flapping a pair of flaming wings. They were the Peak Sovereign Archangel and Fire Phoenix who were teleported over. This Archangel was called Archangel Evans, the guardian of the Radiance Angel race's Angel King. As for the Peak Sovereign Fire Phoenix, he was the younger brother of the Phoenix race's Phoenix King, Prince Feng. Two figures appeared from the teleportation array, but the surrounding experts and disciples did not notice them. When they flew into the sky, they saw that the experts from their own clans were blocked. They saw their faces filled with fear and murderous intent. Their eyes were immediately fixed on that figure, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Archangel Evans's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He raised the scepter in his hand and attacked the Taiji dragon coil. At this moment, Wang Xian sensed something and immediately looked in the direction of the Starry Sky City. When he saw a wave of energy heading towards the Tai Chi dragon plate, he quickly waved his arm. Boom! Ka. However, his reaction was a bit slow, and the Tai Chi dragon plate was directly hit by this energy. Cracks began to appear on the surface of the wall. With a wave of his arm, Wang Xian kept it. The sudden attack and the sudden collapse of the Tai Chi dragon plate shocked everyone. Chirp, chirp, chirp. At this moment, the majestic cry of a phoenix rang out. All the experts and disciples in the giant Starry Sky City felt a wave of heat surging over. They felt that the light in the sky had been blocked, and a red shadow had appeared. All the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe looked up, and when they sensed this immense pressure, their faces were filled with awe. This is a peak sovereign realm existence. It's a peak sovereign of the Phoenix clan. Why is he here? There's also a peak sovereign from the Angel clan. He was the one who launched the attack just now. Ha. It's Lord Protector Evans from the Radiance Angel clan. Our Lord Protector is here. Our Prince Feng is here too. He's a peak sovereign existence from the Phoenix clan. All the experts and disciples were shocked. However, the disciples of the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan were overjoyed. Lord Prince, kill the Dragon King. Kill the Dragon King. Lord Protector. The disciples of the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan exclaimed excitedly. The true experts from their two peak races had arrived. Experts of this level were almost at the pinnacle of their races. They were also at the pinnacle of the sovereign realm. Since they were here, everything would be much simpler. In that case, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace could forget about annihilating the experts from their two races, let alone annihilating them. They could even consider annihilating the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Disciples of the Phoenix clan, come over. Disciples of the Angel clan, come here. Prince Feng Tian and Chief Protector Evans hovered above the Starry Sky City and did not attack again. Instead, They spoke to the experts of the angel race and the phoenix race. Hee, I really didn't expect the phoenix race and angel race's peak sovereign realm experts to come here. Are you afraid that I'll kill all the disciples of your peak races? Wang Xian kept the Tai Chi dragon plate slowly, looked at Feng Yintian and Evans and sneered. Humph. Grand Guardian Evans and the Phoenix Prince stared at Wang Xian with cold and sinister looks in their eyes. Dragon King of Dragon Palace. It has indeed exceeded our expectations. Chief Protector Evans said coldly, however, you will regret it one day when you offend the angels. Hee, your angel clan bullied my dragon palace first. Do you think you can bully our dragon palace so easily? Phoenix clan? Angels? Wang Xian looked at them and said emotionlessly, how dare you? If we were in the Nine Origins universe, Dragon King, do you think I would be here talking to you? I would have taken your life. Prince Feng Yintian stared at Wang Xian and shouted with killing intent, Dragon King, don't be arrogant. If we were in the Nine Origins universe, your dragon palace would have been annihilated. How dare you be so insolent in front of our prince? If it wasn't for our lord, you would have been dead. The group of Seventh Order sovereigns flew towards the starry sky city and saw that they had arrived. They heaved a sigh of relief, turned around, and said to Wang Xian coldly, take my life? Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian laughed. You want to take my life? Phoenix Clan, Angel Clan, do you think I will let you go today? Do you think you will be safe with two pinnacle sovereigns here? And you two pinnacle sovereigns, do you think you are a match for me? I, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, can make the entire Faith universe and the 24 palaces fear me. Do you think this is all I have? Today, all the experts and disciples of your Angel Clan and Phoenix Clan will die. I have said that I will make your blood flow like a river. I will not leave a single one of you alive. Starfield Fragment, Starfield Lock, Starfield Descend. Chapter 3902. Starfield Fragment, Starfield Spatial Lock, Starfield Descend. Wang Xian stared at the two pinnacle sovereigns from the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan. Great Guardian Els from the Radiance Angel Clan and Prince Feng Yuntian from the Phoenix Clan. His words reverberated across the sky and into the ears of all the experts and disciples in the starry sky city. When the last sentence was said, it was too late. When the Starfield Fragment, Starfield Spatial Lock, and Starfield Descend, above Wang Xian, a slightly broken starfield appeared. Yes, it was not a broken starfield fragment, but a slightly broken starfield that gradually appeared, following which, the entire starry sky domain and the entire world seemed to have undergone a huge change. In the surrounding starry sky, all kinds of stars appeared out of thin air. There were tens of thousands of stars, and some of them contained incomparably terrifying energy. This abrupt and strange starry sky world directly enveloped the entire starry sky city within it. Around the starry sky city, there were also stars suspended in the air. There were stars filled with deathly stillness. There were stars filled with terrifying flames. And there were stars filled with frost. Some of the stars seemed to be on the verge of exploding. Some of the stars looked extremely heavy as they rotated continuously. Every star seemed to be on the verge of destroying the entire starry sky city. The sudden change had everyone's expression changing drastically. Even the Fire Phoenix Prince Feng Yuntian from the Phoenix Clan and the Great Guardian Els from the Radiance Angel Clan. Along with Wang Xian's words, their pupils constricted as they looked at the world that had suddenly changed. Huff, huff, huff. Hurried sounds came from the starry sky city. The experts from the pinnacle races looked at this world and this space in horror. They could sense the horrifying stars suspended in the air around them. Any one of them could turn them into ashes. In this strange space, they could feel that their lives seemed to be in the hands of others. This energy, over at the Sorcerer Tribe, the Seventh Order sovereigns narrowed their eyes. The Starry Sky City had an array formation set up by the Sorcerer Tribe. However, they could sense that the array formation they had set up was unusually fragile, as though it would shatter with a single touch. It was as though they were not on the same level. What kind of power is this? Feng Yintian scanned the surroundings with a solemn look in his eyes. His eyes twitched violently, filled with unease. Not far away from him, there was a flaming star with energy that could threaten his life. It wasn't just the blazing star. Many of the surrounding stars gave him the same feeling. There were thousands of these stars. He could block dozens of stars in a row, but he couldn't block thousands of them. I don't know. This power is terrifyingly strong. On the side, the angel race's great protector Els had an ugly expression on his face. He looked around vigilantly. Is this the power of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King that the entire Faith universe and the 24 palaces fear? Is this the true terror of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King? On the city walls, a 7th Order sovereign realm expert from the Tiger God race couldn't help but roar. There was a look of disbelief in his eyes, and his body trembled slightly. I feel so small in this space. So small. I have the same feeling. I feel that the surrounding stars can destroy the entire giant star city in an instant. A divine tiger god beside him growled in agreement. His expression was filled with unease. Indeed, I'm afraid the Dragon King can destroy the giant star city with just a thought. Is this the Dragon King that can make the entire Faith universe tremble? Not far away, an expert from the sorcerer race sighed. We have seen the strength of the Faith universe at the end. Their strength is indeed terrifying. They have the 24 palaces and the entire Faith universe behind them. However, they fled the moment they heard the Dragon King's name. Do they really think that the Dragon King only relies on the ancient god Kuan breeder? Just the strength of a few peak sovereigns? No, this should be the true strength of the Dragon King. On the side of the elves, a great elf exclaimed in surprise. Thinking about it, the Faith universe was stronger than their 9 origin universe. The entire universe couldn't do anything to the Dragon King. How could the Dragon King be so simple? How could the angel race and phoenix race deal with him? The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is so strong, so domineering. Is this the strength that the entire Faith universe fears? He's really strong. Is this the Dragon King? All the experts and disciples from the 9 origin universe stared at the scene in front of them in shock. They looked at the imposing figure. All disciples from the angel race and phoenix race enter the transmission array. Radiant's angel grand protector Els instructed the disciples with a solemn expression. He held the Radiant's scepter in his hand, and his face was filled with vigilance. Yes, yes. The experts of the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan also had a trace of fear and dread on their faces. They immediately flew towards the transmission array. The transmission array was located in the center of the giant star city. However, they were already in the giant star city, so they weren't too far away. The group of 7th Order sovereigns arrived at the transmission array in the blink of an eye. They looked at the Dragon King's figure deeply, and a trace of fear flashed in their eyes. Then, they stepped into the transmission array. However, the transmission array didn't send them to the 9 origin universe's passageway. They were still standing there. Lord Grand Protector, the transmission array isn't working. The transmission array isn't working. The 7th Order Sovereign Archangel couldn't help but exclaim. His terrified voice was also transmitted to the surrounding people's line of sight. All the experts and disciples in the giant star city looked over, and their faces were filled with shock once again. The transmission array isn't working? What kind of seal is this? How can it cause the transmission array to fail? An expert from the sorcerer race couldn't help but exclaim. The transmission array was set up by the sorcerer race, and they had a deep understanding of it. However, the transmission array had actually failed. Damn it! Archangel El's face changed slightly, and he had a bad premonition. I've already destroyed the forces of 5 or 6 palaces of the Faith universe's 24 palaces. Of course, I've also been trapped in a similar space for over 30 million years. No one can leave this place. Wang Xian looked in the direction of the giant star city and said plainly, this was the power of the Starfield spatial lock. Chapter 3903. Wang Xian could clearly feel the power of the Star Region space lock. Back then, he had been trapped in this space for over 30 million years. That was over 30 million years. Other than the power of the Star Region space lock, the second was the power of the Star Region descent. The Star Region descent engulfed and replaced the entire void. This was the strongest power that Wang Xian could unleash from the star region fragment. Its strength lay in the fact that it was able to unleash the limits of its abilities. Wang Xian materialized all the energy of the star region lock. Of course, there were tens of thousands of stars in this entire void. Each star contained horrifying power. However, the power that he could mobilize was not a lot. At most, there were only a few hundred stars. Some of the stars were in a state of deathly stillness because he had yet to activate them. Even if they were activated, he would need to expend a lot of energy to control them. He could only control a few hundred of them. However, this was enough. The star region descent and the star region space lock. Trying to leave through the teleportation formation? That was impossible. Even Enlai, who could ignore all barriers, arrays, and obstacles, could not bring Wang Xian out of this space. How could they leave? Absolutely impossible, because this was the power of the heavenly Yuan creation realm. Unless there was a power that surpassed this place, or an existence that surpassed the star region fragment. This, upon hearing Wang Xian's words, Great Guardian Els and Prince Feng Yintian were shocked. The Dragon King has been trapped in such a space for over 30 million years? What treasure is that? How could it be so horrifying? Moreover, the Dragon King has destroyed 5 out of the 24 palaces. Isn't that too horrifying? Over the past 20,000 years, the Dragon King did not immediately seek revenge on the Phoenix and Angel races. Could it be that he went to deal with the armies of the universe of faith? That's possible. Back then, the 21 armies wanted to attack us. Did the Dragon King destroy 3 of them? In that case, did the Dragon King destroy another 2 or 3 armies of the universe of faith? This is too awesome. The strength of the Dragon King is too strong. Wang Xian's words shocked everyone once again. No one had expected the Dragon King to do such a thing. Humph, Dragon King, are you trying to keep us here? Feng Yintian stared at Wang Xian with an embarrassed look and growled in a low voice. Hee, none of you will be able to escape today. Didn't you say you wanted to kill me? If you don't kill me today, you won't be able to leave this place. Come, let's see if you can fulfill your wish. Wang Xian chuckled. He turned to Prince Feng Yintian and Chief Protector Els and said, You guys don't have to hide in the Starry Sky City. It's just a matter of a thought for me to destroy the Starry Sky City. Come out now. As Wang Xian's voice trailed off, all the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky City looked towards Great Guardian Els of the Angel Tribe and Prince Feng Yintian of the Phoenix Tribe, especially Prince Feng Yin. Just a moment ago, he said that he wanted to take the Dragon King's life. Now, his chance had come. Under the watchful eyes of all the experts and disciples of the 9 Essences universe, Feng Yintian, Els, and the others wore extremely ugly expressions. Since Wang Xian had asked them to go out and fight, they couldn't stay here any longer. Because this was a giant starry sky city. It was a giant city built by all the peak races. It was impossible for them to fight with the Dragon King here. And they didn't dare to stay here forever. If the disciples of the other peak clans were to be implicated because of them, then the blame would be placed on the 2 peak clans. Therefore, they had to leave the giant starry sky city at this time. Be it fighting or hiding, they had to leave the giant starry sky city. In that case, let us have a taste of your strength, Dragon King. Great Protector Els stared at Wang Xian sternly. With a swift movement, he flapped his 12 wings and flew forward. Chill, chill, chill. Today, I'm going to take your life. Prince Feng Yintian also knew that they couldn't get through this. He roared with a stern face. They flew towards Wang Xian at the same time. Hee. Seeing them flying over, Wang Xian's eyes gleamed coldly. His body trembled, and the terrifying stars around him began to move. The moment they flew out of the giant starry sky city, 8 stars attacked them directly. Every star carried a terrifying amount of energy. They contained a full force attack that could rival a peak sovereign expert, or even their strongest attack. 8 stars was the limit that Wang Xian could mobilize at this moment. Mobilizing 8 stars at one go was already very powerful. This is the power of the stars. Chief Protector El's expression changed slightly. Swoosh. He raised the scepter in his hand and special armor scales appeared on his 12 wings. His body was also protected by the radiance armor. Above his head, a radiant sun was suspended. Below him, there was a long river of radiance flowing below. These strange phenomena were the inborn cardinal treasures and other types of treasures that Chief Protector Els possessed. As the chief protector of the Radiance Angels, he had many treasures in his hands. He also had many trump cards in his hands. At his level, he was using the best and most suitable inborn cardinal treasures, the most powerful treasures. There were a total of 6 to 7 strange phenomena around him. Chio, Chio, Chio. At Prince Feng Yintian's side, he let out a cry and various strange phenomena of treasures appeared around him. They tried their best to resist the 8 stars that were attacking them. Each of the 8 stars contained a different type of energy. Flames, ice, thick and heavy, dead silence. The 8 stars smashed towards their bodies, not allowing them any time to dodge. This was because they were in the star domain's domain. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, loud noises rang out as the stars smashed against their defenses. Prince Feng Yintian and Chief Protector Els defended with all their might. Block. Angry roars came from them. What a terrifying attack. 8 terrifying stars attacking 2 peak sovereign realm existences. This is the roar of the Fire Phoenix Prince. Are they unable to resist it? On the starry sky city, all the experts and disciples stared at the battle. Dragon King versus Fire Phoenix Prince and Radiance Angel Chief Protector. 1 against 2. But it was obvious that the Dragon King had the upper hand. Even the Fire Phoenix Prince let out an angry roar as he faced the attacks of the 8 stars. At this time, they saw the Radiance Angel Chief Protector and Fire Phoenix Prince being attacked, emitting rays of light. This kind of light was obviously a powerful trump card. They used their trump cards to resist the full power of 8 stars that were comparable to peak sovereign realm experts. This was equivalent to a 4-on-1 attack. Chapter 3904. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Terrifying energy surged in front of the starry sky city. The blazing flames and the power of light radiated in all directions. They seemed to be breaking free from the darkness and welcoming the future. An angry roar rang out from the center. It's easy to deal with 2 pinnacle sovereigns. 3 shouldn't be a problem either. As for 4, I'm afraid it'll be a little difficult. Wang Xian murmured to himself as he floated quietly in the air, observing the situation ahead. As for dealing with 2 pinnacle sovereigns, he was still very confident. Currently, he could mobilize 8 stars at once. Attacking 2 to 3 pinnacle sovereigns with 8 stars was enough to pose a fatal threat to them. With the energy in his body, he could mobilize a few hundred stars. Therefore, he could mobilize dozens of attacks of this level. Therefore, killing 2 to 3 pinnacle sovereigns wouldn't be a problem. If the pinnacle sovereigns had fewer trump cards and weaker treasures, he could kill 4 to 5 pinnacle sovereigns. Of course, experts of this level must be people with great opportunities. They would have a lot of treasures in their hands. What's going on? What's happening in the starry sky city? I don't know. Seems like something happened. Damn it, what's going on? Calm down. Our Phoenix race's Prince Feng Yuntian is very powerful. Even if the Dragon King has more trump cards, Prince Feng Yuntian and Guardian Els from the Angel race should be able to hold them off. At the same time, at the location of the 9 Origins Universe Passage, when the star field descent shrouded the entire space, their view became blurry. They couldn't see anything clearly. The powerhouses of the Angel tribe and the Phoenix tribe had ugly expressions on their faces. Clearly, the Dragon King still had more trump cards. This caused them to feel a faint sense of unease in their hearts. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is really strong. After this battle, the strength of the Dragon Palace will not be underestimated by any race. Yeah, the Dragon King's strength is 100% on par with the Pinnacle Sovereign. As for how strong he is, I'm not sure. But this time, the Angel race and the Phoenix race have made the wrong choice again. The rest of the experts from the Pinnacle races commented when they saw this scene. Their faces were also filled with awe and wonder. Although the Dragon Palace had the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the ancient god Kuan Breeder, its foundation was still too weak. But now, there were more than 177th Order sovereigns, and the Dragon King was leading the peak sovereign realm experts. The strength of the Dragon Palace was already close to the peak clans that had developed for 10 to 20 billion years. They couldn't help but sigh. Hee, you actually blocked the attack. Not bad. At this moment, the furious roars of Phoenix Prince Enine and Great Protector Els could be heard from the center of the battlefield. The 8 stars gradually collapsed, and their figures gradually appeared again. But at this moment, what shocked everyone was that one of Phoenix Entien's Phoenix Prince's Phoenix wings had already been broken, and he looked incomparably wretched. Grand Protector El's situation was not optimistic either. His angel wings were dim and lifeless, as though they had lost their vitality. The corner of his mouth was also filled with blood. If you don't have any trump cards, you can die now, Wang Xian said plainly as he looked at their situation. Huff huff. The Phoenix Prince of Fengyin, Heavenly Fire, and Great Protector Els looked fearful. They looked at Wang Xian with a tinge of fear. They knew that they were no match for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In fact, they might even die in the hands of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace today. Let's go. However, the next scene left all the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe dumbfounded. Grand Protector Els fled into the distance. Phoenix Enine's Sky Phoenix Prince also took out a treasure and threw it forward. A door appeared in front of him. Chapter 3905. The Chief Guardian of the Angel Clan and the Prince of the Fire Phoenix Clan are escaping. SSS, this doesn't look like a battle of the same level. There's such a huge gap between the two of them. The strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King is much stronger than a pinnacle sovereign. 2 peak sovereign realm experts are trying to escape. They're actually trying to escape. All the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky City could clearly see the scene in front of them. They saw the Chief Guardian of the Angel Clan flying into the distance and the Prince of the Phoenix Clan taking out an escaped treasure. All of them were shocked, although they could tell that the Dragon King could suppress them easily. But they were still shocked to see 2 pinnacle sovereigns being forced to escape by the Dragon King. It was especially so for the experts and disciples of the Phoenix Clan and the Angel Clan. Their faces were filled with fear. Once the experts of the 2 great races escaped, they would be completely finished. Escape? Can they escape? Wang Xian smirked when he saw them trying to escape. Chief Guardian Els held the scepter in his hand. His entire body was wrapped as though he had turned into a beam of light. He flew into the distance at a terrifying speed. However, this starry sky, this universe, belonged to the stellar region. With a single thought, the 8 stars in front of Chief Protector Els moved and attacked him. Oh no, he can't control all the stars in this space at will, right? When Great Protector Els saw the 8 stars attacking him, a look of horror appeared on his face. It's time to use the escape treasure. With a reluctant look in his eyes, he moved his palm and pointed in front of him. Gates of heaven, open. He bellowed and a door appeared in front of him. Gates of heaven. This was a treasure exclusive to the Angel Clan. Opening the gates of heaven would allow one to escape to the sacred mountain of the Angel Clan instantly. However, as they were in the Starry Sky universe, they couldn't escape to the sacred mountain directly. But they could use the gates of heaven to escape a long distance. Gates of Nirvana, open. Behind them, Feng Yintian's low growl rang out. The Gate of Nirvana was an escape treasure of the Phoenix Clan. It was forged with the Phoenix Clan's Nirvana power and the divine parasol tree. Be it the gates of heaven or the gates of Nirvana, they were both powerful life-saving methods. It was a powerful life-saving method unique to the peak-level races. The Gate of Nirvana and the Gate of Heaven are the most powerful life-saving means of the Phoenix Clan and the Angel Clan. They can immediately escape from a long distance. It is said that even in a powerful formation, they can escape instantly. 2 peak sovereign realm experts aren't a match for the Dragon King. They're retreating and trying to escape. Above the Starry Sky City, the experts from the various peak races commented when they saw the appearance of the Gates of Nirvana and the Gates of Heaven. These 2 treasures could only be possessed by the top existences of the 2 peak races. Even seventh-order sovereigns were unable to obtain the Gate of Nirvana and Gate of Heaven. Wang Xian looked on quietly as the two doors appeared. He didn't believe that the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan could escape the Starfield spacelock. Moreover, there was still the Starfield spacelock. He didn't stop them and just watched calmly. Feng Yintian and Els opened the escaping doors respectively and took a glance at Wang Xian. Seeing Wang Xian looking at everything calmly, they suddenly had a bad premonition. They didn't say any harsh words. Instead, they gritted their teeth and dove into the doors immediately. It was especially so for Head Guardian Els. The 8 stars were already attacking him. If he didn't escape now, he might die. Wang. However, when they stepped into the Gate of Nirvana and the Gate of Heaven, they didn't enter the doors. Their silhouettes were still there. The doors had failed. Oh no. Damn it. How can this be? How can the gates of heaven be useless? Head Guardian Els was horrified at this moment. He roared in disbelief. His forehead was filled with cold sweat. He quickly fled to a distance. Rumble, 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 rumble. No. However, the attacks from the 8 stars had already arrived. They landed on his body in an instant. For the previous 2 times, he and Feng Yintian had to defend with all their might. They had to use their trump cards in order to withstand the attacks from the 8 stars with great difficulty. Now, he was facing the attacks from the 8 stars alone. Moreover, he had used all his trump cards. He couldn't defend at all. The terrifying power of the attack, the terrifying energy, landed on his body. Screams of horror and despair were heard. The forces from the 8 stars collided. Head Guardian Els, who was in the middle, was hit directly. Radiant flower of the other shore, life and death rebirth. However, at this moment, Els's furious voice sounded from the center of the 8 stars. Swish! El's figure appeared, and he quickly flew in the direction of the starry sky city. At this moment, there was an additional flower above his scepter. A radiant flower, the radiant flower of the other shore. Life and death rebirth. He was already dead just now. However, he was instantly resurrected through the radiant flower of the other shore. However, the radiant flower of the other shore looked much dimmer now. Let's see how many times you can resurrect. Wang Xian waved his arm and the 8 stars attacked Els at a horrifying speed again. One of the stars emitted a thick and heavy energy. When the energy swept across Els, his speed dropped by 2 to 3 times. This made his pupils constrict as he looked at Wang Xian with hatred. Els will remember this. He let out a shrill roar. One after another, the stars crashed into his body. This time, his vitality was completely extinguished. At the side, the Nirvana gate in front of Feng Yintian Fire Phoenix Prince had already disappeared gradually. His expression fluctuated as he watched this scene unfold. He gently flapped his broken phoenix wings. He knew that he would end up the same as Els. Dragon King of Dragon Palace, are you really going to kill so many experts and disciples of the Phoenix race today? You have to consider this carefully. Once the disciples of the Phoenix race are killed by you, the Phoenix race and the Dragon Palace will never rest until one of us is dead. Feng Yintian Fire Phoenix Prince stared at Wang Xian and growled in a low voice with indignation. Hee, what a joke. We have always been fighting to the death. If you have the chance to annihilate the Dragon Palace, we will also annihilate the Phoenix race if we have the chance in the future. Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian sneered. He waved his arm and the 8 stars attacked Feng Yintian. Chapter 3906. Boom. Boom. 8 stars shot towards the Fire Phoenix Prince, Feng Yintian. The terrifying power of the 8 stars was enough to kill him. Feng Yintian knew that he wouldn't be able to escape today. His face was filled with rage and a trace of fear. The strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had exceeded their expectations. Not good. Our prince is about to be killed. How can the Dragon King be so strong? How can he be so strong? Once our prince is killed, won't it be our turn next? I don't have any treasures that can revive me. I don't want to die. It's over. It's all over. At the same time, The experts and disciples of the Phoenix race and Angel race in the Starry Sky City were shocked when they saw this scene. Their prince was no match for the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. In fact, the Angel race's chief protector had been killed. A peak sovereign realm expert has been killed by the Dragon King. The one from the Phoenix race will be here soon. The Dragon King is really strong. The rest of the experts and disciples from the Nine Origins cosmos were shocked when they saw this scene. Who would have thought that the battle would end like this? The two peak sovereign realm experts from the Phoenix race and Angel race had been killed by the Dragon King. The Dragon King's strength had exceeded everyone's expectations. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The Fire Phoenix Prince, Feng Yintian, let out a ferocious roar. Facing the 8 stars, he resisted with all his might. However, the 8 stars soon covered him. They didn't know the exact situation. However, everyone could feel that the Fire Phoenix Prince's aura was getting weaker and weaker. In the end, it completely disappeared. Dead. They're all dead. The powerhouses from the top clans murmured when they saw this. 2 peak-level sovereigns had fallen. This could be said to be the first and second peak sovereign realm experts to die since the last great cataclysm in the last 20 billion years. This kind of expert could be said to be one of the most lofty experts in the Nine Origins universe. However, they had all died in the hands of the Dragon King. The strength of the Dragon King and the Dragon Palace had made the various peak forces realize that they couldn't afford to offend them. Dragon Palace was not weak. If the other peak clans wanted to provoke the Dragon Palace, they would have to think twice. Whoosh whoosh. After killing 2 pinnacle sovereigns, a faint smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. With a wave of his arm, he kept the 2 corpses and flew toward the Starry Sky City. Do you want to come and die, or do you want us to come and kill you? Wang Xian spoke impassively to all the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan and Angel clan in the Starry Sky City. In the giant Starry Sky City, the number of experts and disciples from the 2 top clans had reached 5 to 600,000. Among them, there were about 60,000 sovereigns. Some people started to crumble in despair. Tens of billions of experts and disciples from the Nine Origins cosmos were watching the battle unfold. The powerhouses of the peak races and the disciples of the high-level races looked on in shock. No one dared to help, even if they were on good terms with the disciples of the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan. At this time, no one dared to step forward. This was a war between races. Moreover, this war was initiated by the Phoenix clan, and the Angel clan had joined in. However, they had underestimated the Dragon Palace. They had underestimated the Dragon King. The experts and disciples of the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan fell one after another. Blood flowed on the ground. The corpses of the Phoenixes lay in the city. The corpses of the Angels lay on the cold ground. The Phoenixes and Angels had fallen. The phantom dragons of the Dragon Palace had shown the disciples of the various races in the Nine Origins cosmos how terrifying they were. It was a one-sided massacre. The Dragon Palace did not spare a single disciple of the Phoenix clan and Angel clan. It didn't matter if they were in the sovereign realm or below. Not a single one was spared. There was a price to pay for provoking the Dragon Palace and killing their disciples. Chapter 3907. Within the Starry Sky City, screams and screams rang out incessantly. In the past, the experts and disciples of the high-ranking races of the Nine Origins universe had viewed them as lofty rulers. But now, they were being slaughtered by the Dragon Palace. One by one, the disciples of the 2 pinnacle races were annihilated. This time, the Angel race and Phoenix race have really suffered a great loss. Most of their experts and disciples have entered the Starry Sky universe. Most of them are in the Starry Sky City. Even when the cataclysm arrives, they might not be able to recover from this loss. Yeah, the Phoenix race and Angel race have really provoked the wrong enemy. The Dragon Palace is too strong. All the pinnacle races in the surroundings were shocked to see this scene. After witnessing the terrifying strength of the Dragon King, they were full of respect for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. After all, this was a battle technique that was obtained through killing 2 pinnacle sovereigns. One was the Fire Phoenix Prince, and the other was the Radiance Angel Grand Protector. I feel that the strength of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace should be top-notch among the pinnacle races and pinnacle sovereigns in a one-on-one fight. Almost. Seeing how relaxed he is, it shouldn't be a problem for him to kill 3 or 4 experts of the same level at the same time. Over at the Sorcerer Tribe, several 7th Order sovereigns were discussing softly. How is this possible? At this very moment, at the location of the Nine Origins Universe Passage, when the situation in the Starry Sky City could not be sensed, the experts of the Angel race and the Phoenix race had an uneasy feeling in their hearts. But because 2 pinnacle sovereigns had entered, their uneasiness was not as strong. But at this time, they suddenly received a message. It was a message from the Fire Phoenix Prince, Feng Yintian, and the Radiance Angel Grand Protector, Els. As the pinnacle experts of the 2 pinnacle races, they naturally had treasures for resurrection. In fact, the treasures for their resurrection were not something ordinary resurrection treasures could compare to. When they were killed and resurrected by Wang Xian, they immediately sent the message over. This caused the experts of the Angel race and the Phoenix race to turn gloomy. The other 10 peak races suddenly sensed the change in their auras. They raised their brows slightly, and a look of surprise appeared in their eyes. That damn Dragon King. If he dares to kill the disciples of our Phoenix clan will never let him off. Our Phoenix clan will start a war with him immediately. Right at this moment, a roar that was filled with killing intent and rage resounded throughout the heavens and the earth. The Aqua Phoenix King exuded a terrifying aura. It didn't conceal its aura at all as it charged towards the surroundings. Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Ka. On the side of the angels, the King of Light Angels also clenched his fists, and his aura was extremely cold. All the phoenixes and angels had ugly expressions on their faces. If that Dragon Palace's Dragon King dares to kill my Angel Tribe's disciples, we will start an all-out war. The King of Light Angels also roared with killing intent. There were a large number of their experts and disciples in the Starry Sky Giant City. This loss was not something the 2 top clans could afford. If those experts and disciples were to be killed by the Dragon King, their losses would be too great. What did Dragon Palace's Dragon King do? The rest of the experts from the top clans looked over in shock. What could have caused the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan to be so furious? However, the lockdown over the Starry Sky Giant City was still ongoing. No one could see what was happening inside. Even the information inside could not be transmitted over. Clearly, the Dragon Palace's Dragon King and the rest had completely sealed off the inside. They could only wait here quietly. At this moment, Wang Xian wasn't watching the disciples of Dragon Palace slaughter the experts and disciples of the 2 top clans. He appeared beside Lan Qingyue and dealt with the other 4 7th Order sovereign giant beasts. Lan Qingyue, Xiaolan, and the rest had the upper hand in the battle here. They had even severely injured one of the giant beasts. Wang Xian's appearance had ended the battle completely. With the help of the Stellar Field Fragment, he had easily killed a 7th Order sovereign giant beast. As for the next 3, it would be even easier. When Wang Xian assisted Lan Qingyue to kill the 4 giant beasts in the Starry Sky Giant City, all the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan had been annihilated. Dragon King, I've asked Enlai to prepare for the Divine Dragon Island. Everything is settled. At this time, Prime Minister Turtle flew over and reported to Wang Xian. Good. Wang Xian nodded and revealed a faint smile. This time, the annihilation of so many experts from the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan had hurt them deeply. It might even alert the existences above the ruler realm. Therefore, Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle to make full preparations. Once all the experts and disciples were annihilated, the Dragon Palace would be prepared to move out of the Nine-Source universe. Only some demonic spiritual altars and some Dragon Palaces would be left in the Nine-Source universe. Other than that, the Dragon Palace had also made some arrangements on the Divine Dragon Island. Ask Enlai to come over. I'll make a trip to the Divine Dragon Island before the 2 top clans react. Wang Xian said to Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. Wang. Greetings, Dragon King. Soon, Enlai appeared beside Wang Xian. Bring me to the Divine Dragon Island? Wang Xian nodded and looked to Lan Qingyue. Qingyue, lead the rest of the disciples of the Dragon Palace and wait here. The Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan won't dare to send their experts here. The other top clans won't let them in either. Yes, Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyue nodded. Wang Xian signaled to Enlai, and the two of them left instantly. Wang. The moment Wang Xian left, the entire void reverted to its original state. The stars disappeared one by one. Huh. The Dragon King and the rest have left? The storm is just about to begin. If the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan know about this, they'll be furious. I reckon the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan will attack the Dragon Palace in the Nine-Source universe directly. As for the Dragon King and the rest, they probably won't let the experts and disciples of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan step into the Starry Sky universe. This time, the Dragon Palace and the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan are in deep trouble. If they meet again in the future, they'll fight to the death. In the Starry Sky Giant City, all the experts discussed when they saw the void reverting to its original state. Chapter 3908. Huh? The scene from the Starry Sky City is back. Everything returned to normal. The sky above the Starry Sky City returned to normal after Wang Xian left. The stellar domain fragment left. At the same time, the passageway to the Nine Essences universes, which was located directly in front of the various peak races, returned to normal. This is? However, when they saw the situation inside, their faces were filled with shock. Even though they were the pinnacle experts of the pinnacle races, they were still shocked when they saw this scene. In the scene, the disciples of Dragon Palace were cleaning up the corpses of the angels and phoenixes. As far as the eye could see, there was not a single disciple from the Phoenix Clan or the Angel Clan standing or alive in the Starry Sky City. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this time, the experts and disciples from the pinnacle races also sent the news. When the experts of the Peak Clan saw this information, their faces revealed a trace of shock. Two pinnacle sovereigns from the Phoenix Clan and the Angel Clan were killed by the Dragon King. All the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky City were slaughtered by the Dragon Palace. Not a single one was spared. The Dragon King killed two pinnacle sovereigns with ease. This strength shocked them beyond belief. Chirp, damn the Dragon Palace, damn the Dragon King. The Phoenix Clan will annihilate you all. At this time, the three kings of the Phoenix Clan also received the news. They roared with rage and murderous intent. The Angel Clan has over 200,000 disciples in the Starry Sky City. Dragon King of Dragon Palace, Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Not far away, the radiant Angel King read the news from his subordinates with a ferocious look. Even though they had a hunch, they still found it hard to accept this result. With such a huge loss, even when the cataclysm arrived, it would be difficult for them to recover to their previous strength. In other words, not only did they gain nothing from this trip to the Starry Sky universe, but they also suffered a huge loss. This loss was hard to make up for. This loss was hard for them to accept. Go back and get ready to attack the Dragon Palace and the Divine Dragon Island. From now on, kill every disciple of Dragon Palace you see in the Nine-Source universe. The Water Phoenix King of the Phoenix Clan roared ferociously. Go back. On the side of the angels, the King of Light Angels also roared with a grim expression. They wanted vengeance. They wanted revenge. He wanted to exterminate all the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe. He wanted to make sure that the Dragon Palace couldn't stay in the Nine Origins universe any longer. The experts and disciples of the two great races immediately left to prepare for the upcoming battle. I really didn't expect the result to be like this. This time, the loss of the Angel Tribe and the Phoenix Tribe can't be compensated. They really underestimated the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. A great elf from the Elf Clan said with a smile, if the Dragon King of Dragon Palace and the others dared to do this, they must have made all the necessary preparations. I reckon that the Dragon Palace might give up their base in the Nine Origin universe. The ancient god Kuan Breeder can ignore the suppression of the Starry universe. Perhaps the Dragon Palace will be able to ignore the suppression of the Starry universe in the future. If that's the case, The Dragon Palace might become a race of the starry universe, an intelligent race at that. The eyes of the ancestor of the sorcerer tribe flickered as he spoke. The results of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had exceeded all the experts' expectations. That's possible. However, I'm afraid that the Phoenix tribe and the Angel tribe won't be able to step into the starry universe in the future. A skeleton king from the skeleton tribe said with a smile, "This is a terrible loss for the Phoenix tribe and the Angel tribe." Yes, all the great races knew that after this, it would be impossible for the experts and disciples of the Phoenix tribe and the Angel tribe to step into the starry universe. Even if they stepped into the starry universe and were discovered by the Dragon Palace, they would be annihilated immediately. This was a huge loss for the two great races. By now, the resources of the Nine Essences universe and the resources of the various peak races were all limited and were almost all used up. It was no longer possible for the disciples to obtain a huge improvement. This meant that the Angel tribe and the Phoenix tribe would not be able to recover to their peak state until the cataclysm arrived. This was a huge loss. On the other hand, the Dragon Palace would at most lose the Divine Dragon Island, but they wouldn't lose too many resources. The Dragon Palace could afford it. As for the rest, the disciples of the Dragon Palace might not be able to move around in the Nine Origin universe for now. But it was hard to say in the future. What if the Fairy tribe, the Skeleton tribe, and other great races in the starry universe cooperated with the Dragon Palace for some reason? It was hard to say. After all, the Dragon King and the others were already very powerful in the starry universe. What if the great races cooperated with the Dragon Palace? Then it wouldn't mean that the Dragon Palace couldn't step into the Nine Origin universe. When the time came, the Phoenix tribe and the Angel tribe wouldn't be able to do anything if they really cooperated with the other great races. Therefore, the Phoenix tribe and the Angel tribe would suffer the greatest loss this time. In fact, they couldn't do anything to the Dragon Palace, because it was impossible for the Dragon King and the others to not be prepared. Once they were prepared, the two great races could only rage helplessly. There was no other way. At the same time, in the communication stone plate, all the experts and disciples were discussing the Great War in the universe AI of the Nine Origin universe. As for the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King, their names had spread throughout the entire Nine Origin universe. Just as all the experts and disciples of the great races were discussing the war. At this moment, Wang Xian appeared on the Divine Dragon Island. This was Wang Xian's first time coming to the Divine Dragon Island. Even though the Divine Dragon Island had been occupied by the Dragon Palace for tens of millions of years, this was his first time here. He felt a sense of familiarity from his bloodline. The surrounding divine dragon statues and the familiar aura made his eyes twinkle. Dragon King, over the past tens of millions of years, we have explored everything on the Divine Dragon Island except this place. Enlai brought Wang Xian to a huge dragon gate. On both sides, there were divine dragons entrenched. A huge dragon gate that seemed to have indestructible power. This should be the treasure vault of the Divine Dragon tribe. Wang Xian's eyes twinkled as he looked. Behind this dragon gate, there might be the treasure vault of the Divine Dragon tribe. This place had never been opened before. Even Heavenly Yuan creation technique might not be able to open it. At the very least, it was much bigger than the current Dragon Palace. In the entire small world, apart from flowers and trees, there were no other living beings. Buzz. At this moment, the dragon gate suddenly closed behind them. Wang Xian looked over immediately. After a moment of hesitation, he looked at Enlai. Enlai nodded, and his figure slowly disappeared. A few seconds later, Enlai's figure appeared again, but he had a strange look on his face. Dragon King, I can teleport out. However, when I go out, I have a strange feeling. This feeling is that I originally couldn't go out as I was blocked by a force of energy. However, because I have the bloodline of the Divine Dragon in me, I can go out again. Enlai said and looked at Wang Xian. If I don't have the bloodline of the Divine Dragon in me, my teleportation will fail, just like before. In the past, Prime Minister Turtle also wanted Enlai to teleport in, but he had never succeeded. Now, he could teleport in and out. This should be related to Wang Xian. Some kind of special energy was activated. That's good. Wang Xian nodded and looked ahead again. Looking at the long path, he pondered for a few seconds. He let out a low roar and transformed into his divine dragon form. An incomparably huge body appeared and occupied a few tenths of the path in front of him. There wouldn't be any problem for this space to accommodate millions of divine dragons. The entire space should be several times the size of the Starry Sky City. The moment Wang Xian transformed into a divine dragon, a glow shone from his head. Soon after, a virtual image of a divine dragon gradually formed in front of him. This was the virtual image of a water divine dragon. The virtual image didn't look majestic, but had a tinge of old age and benevolence. This virtual image didn't have much emotion. It looked at Wang Xian with dull eyes. Successor of the Divine Dragon Tribe, congratulations on coming to the origin of the Divine Dragon Tribe. The virtual image of the Water Divine Dragon said, You are the Lord Water Divine Dragon? Wang Xian couldn't help but ask in surprise. Don't ask me any questions. I've exhausted all my energy in the previous battle. What I'm left now is just a virtual image without intelligence. In order to fight for the progenitor tree, the Divine Dragon Tribe and the Bug Race fought to the end. Almost all the experts and disciples were killed. Of course, after annihilating the Bug Race Queen and obtaining the progenitor tree, not all the experts and disciples of the Divine Dragon Tribe were killed. However, my own strength and the strength of the Dragon Palace were less than 1/20th of our peak. If the Phoenix race didn't go back on their promise, we wouldn't be in such a miserable state. In order to prevent the Phoenix race from sneaking up on us, I decided to sacrifice all the remaining divine dragons in the Dragon Palace. I used the last of my strength and combined it with the core technology of the Bug Race to create a support system. When the system was being created, it mutated along with the progenitor tree. Most of the progenitor tree's energy was depleted, and the progenitor tree reverted to a seed. As for the specific situation of this system, I don't know. However, I believe the current successor should have mastered it. This system was created by combining the technology of the Bug Race, the power of the progenitor tree, and all the energy of the Divine Dragon Tribe. I hope the successor can restore the glory of the Divine Dragon Tribe. Also, successor, be careful of the Phoenix race. If you're strong enough, you can annihilate them. If not, please rebuild the Divine Dragon Tribe. You're in a special space. This place was created by me during the previous cataclysm. The uniqueness of this space can withstand the attacks of the heavenly Yuan creation art. You'll know the details after you check it out. In the depths of this space, there are some treasures of the Divine Dragon Tribe. There aren't many treasures because most of them were used to create the support system. Chapter 39:10. Wang. As the Water Divine Dragon spoke, its body became more and more blurry. When it finished its last sentence, it disappeared completely. Wang Xian stood there and listened to the words of the Water Divine Dragon. He was shocked. Some of the doubts in the past were now completely answered. The source of the system, the source of the progenitor tree, some of the opportunities on Earth. These were all sent over by the Divine Dragon clan, and he was just a fated person. As for the Water Divine Dragon, he was almost 100% sure that it was the Divine Dragon race's Tian Yuan Zhao Xing. The Phoenix race is actually related to the demise of the Divine Dragon race. According to the records, the Phoenix race and the Divine Dragon race are on good terms. Did the Water Divine Dragon leave this sentence because of the progenitor tree? Is it because of the war with the Zerg race? Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. He had a guess. The Divine Dragon race and the Phoenix race were prepared to join forces to fight against the Zerg race and obtain the progenitor tree. For some unknown reason, the Phoenix race did not make a move. As a result, the Divine Dragon race had no choice but to fight the Zerg race to the bitter end, resulting in heavy losses. As a result, even the Tian Yuan Zhao Xing level Water Divine Dragon was severely injured. In order to prevent the Phoenix race from doing anything wrong, the Divine Dragon system was created. Who would have expected such a thing to happen in the past? Enlai, who was sitting at the side, sighed. Let's go. Wang Xian nodded his head silently. The information he got from this place made him even more certain about his future enemies. The Phoenix race. The Phoenix race must die. He looked at the place in front of him, and with a move of his body, he flew inside. Inside were dragon caves. Magnificent dragon caves. With a glance, there were millions of them. At the very back, there was a special palace. Wang Xian scanned through them one by one. Among the dragon caves, there were some items. However, these items were not treasures. They were simple items used by the divine dragons who lived here in the past. After a rough scan, Wang Xian flew to the back. It was a palace in the style of the divine dragon race. After entering the palace, there were many items placed in the center of the main hall. In addition to these items, there was also a very strange thing. Try Mad 1, Gad 2. Catch X E white whirlpool, 100-meter wide white whirlpool. Waves of strange energy flew out from the vortex. This energy contained 9 different attributes, but it wasn't just 9 different attributes. It was very strange. Wang Xian shifted his gaze to the interior of the palace and fixed it on the few treasures. There were a total of 4 treasures. A book, 2 boxes, and a bag. He walked to the front of the book and looked at it. A surprised expression immediately appeared on his face. Heaven Origin Sword Art. Wang Xian mumbled to himself with a surprised look in his eyes. Sword technique? A sword technique manual? It was very strange for a sword technique to appear here. After all, this was the Divine Dragon Clan's treasury. The Divine Dragon Clan did not practice sword techniques. He took out the sword technique manual and opened it to the first page. The first page was not the first page of the swordsmanship manual, but a piece of paper that was sandwiched between 2 layers of paper. Written on the paper was the cultivation method of the Sword Universe's supreme sword technique. It was obtained from the Cataclysm, and when cultivated to the peak, one could break through the heaven's essence. A brief introduction shocked Wang Xian. The strongest sword technique in the entire universe? Sword Universe? A supreme sword technique from another universe, Heaven Origin Sword Art. Just from the name, one could tell that it was very powerful. Wang Xian thought to himself, this sword technique would be very useful to the Dragon Palace. It would be very useful to Roving Sword and the rest. Roving Sword and the rest cultivated the Heartless Sword principle. In the past, Wang Xian did not notice anything. However, when he cultivated to the Sovereign Realm, the shortcomings were revealed. Below the Sovereign Realm, the Heartless Sword principle could indeed allow one to fight across levels. When cultivated to perfection, one could fight across 3 levels. However, when one reached the Sovereign Realm, there was an almost unbreakable shackle. This shackle originated from one's constitution. Their constitution limited their improvement, causing Roving Sword and the rest to be stuck at the pinnacle of the Venerable Realm. It was extremely difficult to break through to the Sovereign Realm. Now that they had this Heaven Origin Sword Art, it was definitely a significant breakthrough for Roving Sword and the rest. After keeping this sword technique manual, Wang Xian walked to the second item. This was a treasure box. After Wang Xian opened the treasure box, he saw 2 jade horns inside. These 2 jade horns looked extremely small, but they contained a very special energy. This energy was very amiable under Wang Xian's senses. Try Mad 1, Gad 2, Catch X. He had an urge to integrate it into his body. Heaven Origin Jade Horn. Within the box, there was a note with a line of words. This pair of jade horns was called Heaven Origin Jade Horn. There was a line of explanation below. Heaven Origin Jade Horn. After refining, one can ignore the suppression of the universe. When he saw this remark, his face was filled with astonishment. After refining, one could ignore the suppression of the universe? This was a treasure. What did this mean? In other words, after refining, Wang Xian could ignore the suppression of the universe. At that time, even if he encountered a pinnacle of the Sovereign Realm, Wang Xian could annihilate it. If he encountered that chaotic galactic beast again, it was hard to say who was stronger. If that chaotic galactic beast did not have any powerful trump cards and treasures, he might not be a match for Wang Xian. Of course, the probability of this was low to Wang Xian. That chaotic galactic beast was willing to exchange the stellar domain fragment with Wang Xian back then. He must have some powerful treasures in his hands. Or perhaps he had an extremely powerful trump card. Not to mention that chaotic galactic beast, Wang Xian could kill the rest of the pinnacle of the sovereign realm galactic beasts at will. Besides, he had a lot of resources in his hands. He could now increase his strength without the slightest scruple. In the nine-source universe, experts above the seventh-order sovereign realm did not dare to step into the starry universe because they were stronger and were suppressed by the universe. Under such circumstances, they would be labeled as foreign life forms. The galactic beasts in the starry universe could easily sense it. Without the suppression of the universe, it meant that they were accepted by the universe. It meant that they were creatures of the universe. In this case, under normal circumstances, if you did not provoke the horrifying existence of the starry universe, they would not come and kill you. After all, to them, you were also a life form of the starry universe, not an invader. This was the use of the Heaven Origin Jade Horn. It was huge. This is good stuff. Wang Xian was a little excited and immediately kept the Heaven Origin Jade Horn. Then, he looked at the third treasure box excitedly. Chapter 39:11. Ka. When Wang Xian opened the third box, a wave of majestic energy gushed out. Dragon Ball. This was a Dragon Ball. No, this was not a Dragon Ball. The energy emitted by the Dragon Ball should be based on the 9 elements, but the energy emitted by this Dragon Ball was not space energy. It was space energy. Yes, the familiar space energy was similar to the energy in Enlai's body. Within this Dragon Ball, one could vaguely see a young dragon curled up inside. This did not seem to be a Dragon Ball, but a dragon egg. A dragon egg that nurtured a space divine dragon. What is this? Wang Xian's face was filled with astonishment as he looked at the introduction in the treasure box. The dimensional dragon pearl is the mortal enemy of the 9 essences universe and the void universe. 3 eons ago, the heavenly origin good fortune of the mystic dragon tribe worked with the heavenly origin good fortune of the 9 essences universe to create a new dragon species, the void god dragon. In the end, there was only one void dragon ball that contained majestic space energy. If this Dragon Ball could be integrated into one's body, one could add another element, the space attribute. But it is extremely difficult to add another element, especially when it does not conflict with one's own energy. However, according to my speculation, if one has the progenitor tree and makes it recognize him as its owner, he might be able to absorb the Void Dragon Ball and increase his space attribute to fight against the Void race. The introduction was very long. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled as he read the information. He did not expect this Void Dragon Ball to have such a long history. It turned out that it had been created several eons ago, but to no avail. If I have the progenitor tree and make it recognize me as its owner, I might be able to absorb this Void Dragon Ball? Wang Xian murmured as he held it up with both hands. With a thought, the branches of the progenitor tree appeared and wrapped around it. After wrapping it up, Wang Xian frowned when he saw no reaction. He hesitated for a moment before poking a root into the Void Dragon Ball. To Wang Xian's surprise, the root poked into the Void Dragon Ball easily. The root slowly connected with the young divine dragon in the Void Dragon Ball. Walala! At this moment, Wang Xian could vaguely hear the progenitor tree trembling slightly. The sound of the leaves and branches colliding against each other was followed closely by the Void Dragon Ball in his hand. Try Mad 1, Gad 2. Catch, X, eh? Seeing this, Wang Xian was astonished. Using his divine sense, he discovered that there was a Void Dragon Pearl at the top of the progenitor tree. The progenitor tree's energy covered the Dragon Pearl, and the Void Dragon Pearl also gave off a special energy that covered the progenitor tree. This made Wang Xian feel very mystical. The power of the Void Dragon Pearl was able to envelop the progenitor tree. This was simply unbelievable. One had to know that the progenitor tree was a true heavenly origin creation, even though it had yet to fully mature. However, it's also clear that this Void Dragon Pearl is no ordinary object. It was created by the heavenly origin of the Divine Dragon Clan. 2 or 3 eons have passed, and yet it's still been preserved so carefully. One can only imagine how precious it is. Wang Xian murmured with excitement in his eyes. He just didn't know when he would finish refining the Void Dragon Pearl. After refining it, would he be able to possess the spatial attribute? He was looking forward to it, and his gaze fell on the last item. This was a bag, and it was obviously a space bag. He walked over and opened it slowly. After opening it, a large number of treasures appeared in his mind. The treasures ranged from very low-level to peak sovereigns. However, the number of treasures, apart from the relatively large number of low-level treasures, there weren't many ruler-rank treasures. In the middle of the space bag, there was a special array. The array was also giving off an extremely powerful energy. This is the treasure vault of the system. Seeing this, Wang Xian revealed a smile. This was also the treasure vault that Wang Xian had used to exchange items from the system. He took out the energy items, activated the teleportation formation, and the items were sent to his hands. However, it wasn't worth it to use energy to exchange for items. Hence, Wang Xian had never done so. Now, all the items belonged to Wang Xian. There were spiky dragon species, imperial dragon species, berserk dragon species, etc. Of course, these were not of much use to Wang Xian. This was because the Dragon Palace already had these dragon species. There were many treasures and items, and they were densely packed. However, at this moment, he was attracted by an item at the top. It was a book of the water attribute. The book looked a little old, and it could even be said to be broken. Try Mad 1, Gad 2, Catch XAD was not complete, as though it had been torn into a few pieces. This was just one of the pieces. With a thought, the book flew into Wang Xian's hands. Boom! In an instant, Wang Xian felt as though he was shrouded in an ocean, and endless water energy was surging towards him. He quickly regained his composure and stared at the book. There was a line on the book. This tattered book had a few pages in the front and a cover. The cover was a picture of waves, and there were a few words. Wang Xian couldn't read these words, but a wave of energy and mental energy allowed him to understand the meaning of these words. The Book of Water Forbidden Spells. The Book of Water Forbidden Spells? This book. Wang Xian stared at it. From this Book of Water Forbidden Spells, he could feel a vast and superior power. This was the power that belonged to the Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure. However, it was obvious that this book was an incomplete Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure. In other words, it was a Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure Fragment. Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure Fragment. To think that the Divine Dragon Tribe had a Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure Fragment. Wang Xian couldn't help but burst into a smile. This was the foundation of the Divine Dragon Tribe. This was the strength of the Divine Dragon Tribe. Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure Fragment. The energy in this Book of Water Forbidden Spells was no weaker than the Star Field Fragment. In fact, it was even stronger than the Star Field Fragment. A second Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure Fragment. I've struck the jackpot this time. The treasures left behind by the Divine Dragon Tribe are too terrifying. Wang Xian couldn't help but exclaim in excitement. With this Book of Water Forbidden Spells, his strength would be enhanced tremendously. Wang Xian couldn't help but clench his fist. Putting away the Book of Water Forbidden Spells, his eyes fell on the few treasures below it. They were sparkling crystals, and each crystal contained a piece of blood essence. Wang Xian sensed it, and a message came through. Bone Dragon's Blood Essence, and a trace of Dragon Soul. Frost Divine Dragon's Blood Essence, and a trace of Dragon Soul. Tempest Divine Dragon's Blood Essence, and a trace of Dragon Soul. Light and Darkness Divine Dragon's Blood Essence, and a trace of Dragon Soul. 5 Elements Divine Dragon's Blood Essence, and a trace of Dragon Soul. The pure blood essence of 5 divine dragons could nurture 5 mutated divine dragons. Chapter 39:12. Other than the essence blood of the 5 divine dragons and a wisp of dragon soul, the rest of the treasures were relatively ordinary. Given Wang Xian's current strength, there wasn't much change. However, the amount of resources and treasures in the Dragon Palace treasury was still terrifying. The swordsmanship cultivated by a creation realm expert, a heavenly Yuan Jade Horn, a space attribute Dragon Ball, a creation realm fragment, the Book of Water Forbidden Curse. Each of the 4 treasures was extremely powerful and could trigger a fight among the pinnacle races. Each of them was comparable to the star field fragment in his hand. These were all the treasures left behind by the divine dragon race. There weren't many treasures, but they were very valuable. In fact, the real treasure left behind by the divine dragon race was Wang Xian's divine dragon system. It was the extremely terrifying progenitor tree. This was a shocking treasure that could cause pinnacle races to fight to the death or even extinction. According to the water divine dragon, this dragon gate can withstand the attacks of the creation realm experts. Does that mean that the disciples of the Dragon Palace can also cultivate here? The resources and energy here are only slightly weaker than the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian kept the treasures with a broad smile on his face. The divine dragon race had left him many, many treasures. Wang Xian shifted his gaze to the centermost position. It was the entrance of an energy whirlpool that spanned 100 meters. The white energy whirlpool contained a very strange energy. Wang Xian focused his attention on the white energy whirlpool. A message left behind by the water divine dragon entered Wang Xian's mind. This is a passage to a universe. Wang Xian's pupils dilated and his face was filled with shock. Yes, there was a universe behind the white energy whirlpool. A universe called Sword and Magic. Sword and Magic sounded very low level, as though it was a low-level world that could be destroyed with a flick of a finger. However, that wasn't the case. This universe wasn't weak. In fact, there were creation realm experts in this universe. This universe was slightly different from the nine-source universe. It was because this universe had a round sky and a flat earth. Yes, the sky was round and had an end. The earth was squarish and divided into north, south, east, and west. There was no starry sky. However, this sword and magic universe was also very vast. Try Mad 1, Gad 2. Catch, X. There are many races living on the boundless continent. This place mainly focused on swordsmanship and magic. Sword. One sword could split mountains and rivers. One sword could pierce through the heavens. No one could escape unscathed under forbidden spells. One sword to destroy a country. A single forbidden spell had destroyed a city. In short, this universe of swords and magic was extremely powerful and terrifying. In addition, this universe contained the space attribute, and this space attribute was already under their control. A powerful knight swordsman could kill a powerful enemy hundreds of millions of miles away with a single sword strike. His head was cut off in an instant. It was extremely terrifying. This was the spatial attribute. In the legends of Earth, there was a saying, "Space is king, time is venerated." The spatial attribute was extremely terrifying. As for the time attribute, based on Wang Xian's understanding, it was irreversible. Time could not be controlled, but space could. In the Void universe, the power of the Void race lay in their control of space. This was also the reason why the Void folk were able to resist the Nine Essences universe. After all, the Nine Essences universe had 9 different attributes. The main reason was that the advantage of the space attribute was too great. If he couldn't win, he would escape. If he could, it would be an instant kill. If he teleported over, he wouldn't be able to react in time and would be killed. From this whirlpool, he could enter the universe of swords and magic. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the whirlpool. This was a universe. If he entered, he might be able to find a large number of treasures, or he might be able to obtain a large number of resources. All of these were possible. Wang Xian sized it up but didn't enter. Even if he did enter, he would have to wait until Wang Xian had successfully refined the heavenly Yuan Jade Horn. He would also have to wait until Wang Xian had achieved a breakthrough in his strength. After all, he still had a lot of resources that could allow him to advance another 2 levels. With a move of his body, Wang Xian looked around the palace but didn't find anything else. From now on, this place will be the base of the Dragon Palace in the Nine Essences universe. Wang Xian looked around and revealed a smile. Now he understood why the Dragon Gate was so sturdy and could withstand attacks of the heavenly Yuan creation realm. That was because the Divine Dragon Clan had used a special method to draw the energy of the universe of swords and magic into this place. This space seemed to be partly in the Nine Essences universe and partly in the universe of swords and magic. Try Mad 1, Gad 2. The energy of the universe of swords and magic was filled with the addition of the Dragon Gate outside. This was like a barrier of the universe. To break the Dragon Gate was equivalent to breaking the passage of a universe. It wasn't that easy. The Nine Essences universe could be opened because the cosmic beasts in the mountains and seas belong to the Starry Sky universe. They could sense the existence of the Starry Sky universe. Otherwise, it would only be possible if a few heavenly Yuan creation realms found the precise coordinates and opened the passage at the same time. It was like the Faith universe. Therefore, this place was very safe. Even the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan couldn't break this place. Next, it's time to improve. I need to improve my strength, refine the heavenly Yuan Jade Horn, and refine the Book of Water Forbidden Curse. Wang Xian's eyes shone. Once the refinement was complete, Wang Xian would be invincible in the Starry Sky universe to the experts and disciples of the Faith universe and the Nine Essences universe. Even if the heavenly Yuan creation realms of the Nine Essences universe entered the Starry Sky universe, Wang Xian should be able to fight them. Of course, the prerequisite was that they didn't have a treasure like the heavenly Yuan Jade Horn. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Rumble, rumble. Just as Wang Xian was collecting the treasures, two extremely terrifying auras flew over from the surroundings of the divine Dragon Island. The phoenixes let out cold and terrifying cries. The angels flapped their 12 wings and exuded murderous intent. The experts of the two peak races were led by the Radiant Angel King, the Dark Angel King, and the three kings of the Phoenix clan. The group of Ninth Order sovereigns of the Phoenix Angel clan. The group of Eighth Order sovereigns. Even the weakest among them was an Eighth Order sovereign. They flew to the sky above the divine Dragon Island, looked down, and swept their cold gazes. Even further away, there was a pair of eyes looking in this direction. A pair of radiant eyes that seemed to be able to see through everything. Damn it! There's no longer any vitality in the divine Dragon Island. The experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace have fled. The Dark Angel King stared down with a pair of glowing black eyes. His expression was cold, and as he spoke, a blood-red light bloomed in his eyes. The blood-red radiance shot downwards. Chapter 39:13. BZZT BZZT BZZT. The blood-red light from the eyes landed on the divine Dragon Island. Many buildings collapsed under the attack of the Dark Angel King. This was the wrath of a pinnacle sovereign realm expert. Violent attacks, horrifying eyes, and laser-like red radiance wreaked havoc on the entire divine Dragon Island. Chirp, chirp, chirp. How dare you kill an expert and disciple of the Phoenix clan? Dragon Palace, just you wait. A group of phoenixes swooped down from the side. Flames, golden radiance, and waves crashed towards the buildings on the divine Dragon Island. Horrifying energy wreaked havoc, and the buildings on the divine Dragon Island collapsed rapidly. Other than the grotto heavens that were protected by the powerful energy, the rest of the places were all destroyed. The area in front of the Dragon Palace treasure vault was in ruins. However, looking down from the sky, one could see that the Dragon Gate was still standing on the divine Dragon Island, majestic and unmoving. What is that place? An expert from the Angel clan stared at the Dragon Gate and frowned slightly. It's said to be the treasure vault of the Dragon Palace, but we can't open it at all. An expert from the Phoenix clan answered. Can't open it? The Radiant Angel King also looked at the Dragon Gate. Since the experts from the Phoenix clan said that they couldn't open it, they must have used all their strength. They really couldn't open it. Did the Dragon Palace open this place? Is it possible that they are hiding inside? The Dark Angel King moved, landed in front of the Dragon Gate, and asked. The Phoenix clan doesn't know about this. However, the possibility of the Dragon Palace opening it is very high. An expert from the Phoenix clan said in a deep voice. His words caused the expressions of the surrounding experts to turn extremely ugly. I'm going to suppress this place. I'm going to turn this place into a dead zone. The Radiant Angel King said with a stern face. The three kings from the Phoenix clan also nodded their heads coldly. They wanted to turn this place into a dead zone. Once they entered, they would be subjected to the most horrifying attacks. Hee, the Dragon Palace will remember today's grudge. At the same time, what the experts from the Phoenix clan and Angel clan didn't know was that a pair of eyes was staring at them from behind the Dragon Gate. At this moment, Wang Xian had gained complete control of the Dragon Gate and this space. Try Mad 1, Gad 2. Catch, he could easily open the dragon gate, but he could also close it. Wang Xian had already sensed the arrival of the experts from the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan. In fact, Wang Xian could even hear their conversation. Turning this place into a dead zone? It's a pity that I haven't upgraded my strength yet. If I were to upgrade my strength, I would be able to launch a sneak attack and kill 1 or 2 Sovereign Realm experts. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He ignored the situation outside. The experts of the Angel race and the Phoenix race were unable to break through the Dragon Gate. They were 100% safe here. Although they wanted to turn this place into a dead zone, the area they covered shouldn't be as wide as Dark Arden's teleportation range, not to mention leaving through the Demon Soul Altar. Secondly, they wanted to turn this place into a dead zone with energy. As long as Wang Xian made a breakthrough, he would still be able to move around in this dead zone. At that time, with the help of the 2 Tian Yuan fortune fragments and his own strength, he would not be afraid at all. He might even be able to break through this dead zone. With these thoughts in mind, Wang Xian set up a Demon Soul Altar before Dark Arden brought him back to the Dragon Palace. Previously, the Phoenix race and the Angel race bowed to the Dragon Palace and gave them a lot of resources. These resources were all placed in the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian was going back to the Dragon Palace to start his breakthrough. Tens of millions of years had passed. Now that he had the Heavenly Yuan Jade Horn, he could finally upgrade without any worries. After Wang Xian arrived, he immediately went to the Dragon King Hall. At this moment, the Dragon King Hall was filled with a large number of resources and treasures. Dragon King, Xiaoxian. Prime Minister Turtle Lan Qingyue revealed a smile when she saw Wang Xian. Have you settled the situation at the Starry Sky City? Wang Xian asked them. Yes, Xiaoxian. How's the Divine Dragon Island? Lan Qingyue nodded her head and asked. The treasure vault has been opened and we've gained a lot. Besides that, the Divine Dragon Island was attacked by the Angel race and the Phoenix race. However, there's another world in the treasure vault of the Dragon Palace. You guys can go there and take a look. Wang Xian smiled and continued. This time, I'm going to upgrade my strength and refine 2 treasures. Prime Minister Turtle, you will be in charge of the distribution of the resources. Besides that, let Xiaolan and the rest absorb the corpses of the 2 pinnacle sovereigns. They should be able to improve. Yes, Dragon King. Try Mad 1, Gad 2, Catch, X. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head. After chatting for a while, Wang Xian immediately transformed into his divine dragon form. He stared at the resources before him and started devouring them. A large number of resources were being absorbed by him rapidly. At the same time, the dragon energy in his body was also increasing rapidly. Time passed by quickly. When Wang Xian was breaking through, the entire communication stone plate and the universe AI in the 9-source universe were boiling with excitement. The battle between the Dragon Palace, the Phoenix race, and the Angel race was earth-shattering. At the same time, the strength of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace shocked all living beings. All the living beings were discussing and gasping in shock. However, Wang Xian was unaware of all this. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through. The 9-origin dragon domain has been strengthened. After a few thousand years, the system's voice sounded and a terrifying dragon aura surged towards the surroundings. Wang Xian's strength had broken through. His strength was comparable to an 8th-order Sovereign Realm expert. How strong would he be with the help of the Stellar Field Fragment? Wang Xian needed to verify this. However, he did not have the time to do so. The breakthrough continued. The remaining resources were enough for him to break through again. A few thousand years passed quickly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the 4th Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through. The 9-origin dragon domain has been strengthened. The system's voice sounded in his head again. Boom, boom, boom. Wang Xian's body once again erupted with a vast amount of energy. This energy even caused the entire Dragon Palace to tremble. 9-colored energy flowed through his body. The 5 elements merged. Light and darkness intertwined. Wind and lightning whirled. A vast and majestic aura shot out from his body. Wang Xian opened his eyes slowly and clenched his dragon claws. 9 types of attributes flowed on it, and it was filled with a terrifying aura. Each and every one of his movements carried great power. 4th Order Universe Sovereign Realm, comparable to a 9th Order Sovereign Realm expert. Coupled with the stellar field fragment, how strong am I now? He asked himself softly. Chapter 39:14. Name: Wang Xian Race. 9 Origins Divine Dragon, 1 with the Dragon, Rank. 4th Order Universe Ruler, 9 changes return to 1. Origin: 1%, 99% required for next breakthrough, Magic. Dominate the aquatic creatures. Dominate any aquatic creatures lower than your own level. Devour living things. Devour living things to extract the source. Control of the 5 elements cultivation technique. Divine Dragon Transformation Divine Powers. Soul Capture. Spirit Attachment Nomological Divine. Abilities: Dragon Eye Lock, 5 elements Dragon Claw, Yin Yang World Breaker, 8 Luminaries Dragon Scale, Holy Dragon Shadow, 8 Divisions of the Heavenly Dragon, Dragon Tomb, Soaring Cloud Dragon, True Dragon Body Law of Dharma, 8 Directional Dragon Pillar, 8 Dragon Clone, Towering Dragon Horn, Great Mighty Heavenly Dragon, Godly Tail Playing with Pearls, Dragon Breath of Life, Shadow Dragon Clone, Dark Dragon Pursuit, Dark Dragon Transformation, Wind Thunder Dragon Life, Berserk, Dragon Starburst. Domain: 9 Origin Dragon Domain Law of Mastery. Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, Darkness, Wind, Lightning Divine Kingdom. Dragon Palace Possess Dragon Palace, Innate. Dragon Palace Members: 8060450 Buzz. The increase in strength had increased Wang Xian's combat strength to a terrifying level. In less than 10,000 years, he had made 2 consecutive breakthroughs. Wang Xian revealed a smile as he looked at his attributes with his mind. My current strength is already very terrifying, but this is not the end. Everything is not over yet. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He still had the Book of Water Forbidden Spells that he had yet to finish refining. There was still the Heavenly Yuan Jade Horn that had yet to be refined. Of course, the Heavenly Yuan Jade Horn could not increase his combat power, but the Book of Water Forbidden Spells could. This was a Heavenly Yuan Fortune Fragment. Continue. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He did not stop and continued with the refinement. First, he had to refine the Heaven Origin Jade Horn. This was to prevent any special circumstances from occurring so that he could act immediately. The Heavenly Yuan Jade Horn was what the Divine Dragon Clan had called this treasure in the past. As for what this Jade Horn was, Wang Xian had no idea. The increase in his realm had also caused his refining speed to increase significantly. Coupled with the assistance of the 5 elements Grindstone and the Taiji Dragon Disc, the refinement process was extremely fast. However, even though it was extremely fast, it still took him close to 10,000 years to completely refine it. The refined Heavenly Yuan Jade Horn fused with Wang Xian's Dragon Horn and was completely hidden within it. Enlai, take me to the universe. After the refinement was completed, Wang Xian called Enlai over and instructed him. It's Dragon King. Enlai nodded. In the next second, he appeared at the edge of the infinite starry sky, where the Thunder Treasure Land was. When he arrived, he immediately sensed that the suppression from before had completely disappeared. It was as if entering the starry sky was no different from entering the 9 Essences universe. He was a creature of the starry sky universe. This universe had completely acknowledged its existence. This made Wang Xian's eyes glow with excitement. With my strength, I can already step into the depths of the infinite starry sky. Wang Xian looked towards the depths of the infinite starry sky and spoke with slight excitement. With the help of the star field fragment, Huang Xiaolong could easily kill a peak sovereign realm giant star beast. Other than a few peak-level sovereign realm space beasts that possessed great treasures and fortuitous encounters, no one under the fortune realm would be his match. Go back. After a brief moment of sensing, Wang Xian returned to the Dragon Palace. Next, he continued to refine the Book of Water Forbidden Spells. The Book of Water Forbidden Spells was a part of the Heaven Origin Fortune book. This part should have taken up about 3/4 of the book. Therefore, according to the level, The destructive power of the Book of Water Forbidden Spells was slightly stronger than the Starfield fragment. The 8 fused fragments in Wang Xian's hands were only equivalent to 1/5 of the entire Heaven Origin Fortune book. Therefore, the refinement of the Book of Water Forbidden Spells still took Wang Xian tens of thousands of years. Swoosh. After the refinement of the Book of Water Forbidden Spells was completed, a slightly tattered book floated in front of Wang Xian. The book emitted an ancient blue glow that contained boundless power. The pages of the book flipped and made a rustling sound. Each page contained a horrifying book of forbidden spells. Water forbidden spells. Each page contained a water forbidden spell. There were more than 30 pages. Of course, with the current energy in Wang Xian's body, he was still unable to cast all the forbidden spells on the book. The power of the forbidden spells was a little terrifying. Each attack was comparable to a peak Sovereign Realm expert's all-out attack. In fact, the last few pages contained a combination of forbidden spells. This combination of forbidden spells was even more horrifying. However, this was not something Wang Xian could cast. Now, he could cast more than 20 pages of forbidden spells. However, Wang Xian soon discovered a problem. That was, his strength was not enough to control 2 fragments of the Fortune of Heaven. Wang Xian could not even cast the full power of 1 stellar domain fragment, let alone the attacks contained in the Book of Water Forbidden Spells. This was because he did not have that much energy in his body. It was already difficult to activate one, let alone the second one. In this case, refining the Book of Water Forbidden Spells won't be able to enhance my strength too much. It won't be able to improve my strength too much. For example, without the Book of Water Forbidden Spells, he could annihilate 10 peak sovereigns. With the Book of Water Forbidden Spells, he might only be able to annihilate 11 or 12 peak sovereigns. With the Book of Water Forbidden Spells, he might only be able to annihilate 11 or 12 peak sovereigns. This was because he did not have enough energy. Therefore, the enhancement that the Book of Water Forbidden Spells could provide Wang Xian was limited. The Stellar Domain Fragment seems to be able to be used with any kind of energy. However, the Book of Water Forbidden Spells is different. Only water attribute experts can control it. Currently, the Dragon Palace does not have any powerful water attribute experts. Wang Xian murmured. He still decided to use it himself. Although there was a limit to how much he could improve himself, this limit was only when compared to the Heavenly Yuan Fortune Fragment and when compared to ordinary powerhouses. In fact, this enhancement was still very impressive. At the very least, he had more means and methods of attack. For example, there was a water forbidden spell in the Book of Water Forbidden Spells. This forbidden spell could block the enemy's vision and senses. The blocking and senses were extremely frightening. If the enemy was caught off guard, the impact it could cause would be huge. I'll use it myself first. I'll think about the rest later. Wang Xian made up his mind. He looked at the book in his hand and revealed a smile. If I'm not mistaken, this Book of Water Forbidden Spells is a Heaven Origin Fortune book from the Sword and Sorcery universe. For some unknown reason, it has been divided into several parts. Next, I can explore the Starry Sky universe. I can also easily occupy some of the dangerous treasured lands. The Dragon Palace doesn't lack core combat power, but it lacks peak combat power experts. I wonder how much strength the Dragon Palace has developed over the years. Chapter 39:15. Prime Minister Turtle. Wang Xian shouted in the Dragon King Hall. Yes, Your Majesty. Prime Minister Turtle hurried over and bowed to Wang Xian. Tell me about the current situation of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle with a smile. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head and said, Dragon King, the number of Sovereign Realm disciples in our Dragon Palace has reached 100,000. In terms of high-end combat strength, there are 187th Order Sovereigns. The rest of the Charm Dragon species have all reached the 6th Order Sovereign Realm. Other than the Charm Dragon species, there are Aosia and the rest of the Devouring Dragons. The strongest ones are Wu Sha, the Water Demon, Princess Bei Shuang, the Grand Princess, and Empress Fanlong. Other than them, most of our sovereigns are 1st Order to 3rd Order Sovereigns. Our disciples are all at the pinnacle Venerable Realm. It had been more than 20,000 years since the war between the Dragon Palace, the Angel Clan, and the Phoenix Clan. The Dragon Palace had gained a lot from the previous war. 400,000 to 500,000 corpses of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan. Just the corpses of the Sovereign Realm experts had reached 40,000 to 60,000. These were all incomparably huge resources. These resources allowed even the weakest disciple of the Dragon Palace to reach the pinnacle venerable realm. In addition to these resources, Wang Xian had brought a large number of corpses of the gods of the Faith universe. The Heart of Faith could allow the experts of the Dragon Palace to break through the shackles easily. This was also the reason why the Dragon Palace produced Sovereign Realm experts at a faster rate. Currently, the Dragon Palace was getting closer to the other pinnacle clans in terms of the disciples of the Sovereign Realm experts. In addition, the blood essence and dragon soul of the variant Divine Dragon obtained from the Dragon Palace's treasury allowed the Dragon Palace to produce 5 variant Divine Dragons. They were the 5 elements Divine Dragon, Yin-Yang Divine Dragon, Wind Thunder Divine Dragon, Bone Dragon, and Frost Divine Dragon. The 5 elements Divine Dragon and Yin-Yang Divine Dragon were the seeds left behind by the strongest Dragon King of the Divine Dragon clan. The strength of the 5 elements Divine Dragon and Yin-Yang Divine Dragon was even more terrifying than the Bone Dragon and Frost Divine Dragon. As long as they continued to grow, it would be difficult for them to break through to the creation realm. However, it was still possible for them to reach the creation realm. What's the situation in the starry universe? Wang Xian nodded his head and asked. Dragon King, 10,000 years ago, Dragon Empress Lan Qingyue, and the 3 Kuan broke through to the 8th Order Sovereign Realm. Furthermore, they still have a lot of energy left. Now, Dragon Empress Lan Qingyue is preparing to nurture the 4th Kuan. Prime Minister Turtle continued to report. Other than Dragon Empress Lan Qingyue, everything else is going smoothly. There are no more disciples of the Angel race or the Phoenix race appearing in the Starry Sky universe or the Starry Sky City. Currently, we have also issued a kill order to the experts and disciples of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan. If we encounter them, we will immediately kill them. Upon hearing Prime Minister Turtle, Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Currently, the powerhouses of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan had used some methods to turn the Divine Dragon Island into a dead zone. Once a living being appeared there, it would suffer a terrifying attack. Even a peak Sovereign Realm expert would not be able to withstand it. Moreover, they had also issued an order on the Universe AI. Once they encountered experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace, or those with the bloodline of the Divine Dragon, they were to be annihilated. Since the 2 pinnacle races had issued such an order in the 9 Origins universe, the Dragon Palace was naturally not afraid. They had issued the same order in the Starry Sky universe. Once they encountered experts and disciples of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan, they would immediately be annihilated. Now, the disciples of the Dragon Palace did not appear in the 9 Origins universe. Similarly, there were no experts and disciples of the 2 pinnacle races in the Starry Sky universe. To the Dragon Palace, such a situation was completely acceptable. In fact, the losses were not too great. However, to the 2 pinnacle races, it was extremely difficult for them. This time, they had lost so many experts and disciples. Moreover, they could not explore the Starry Sky universe in search of treasures and opportunities. Even when the cataclysm arrived, they would not be able to recover to their peak. It could be said that they were not advancing but instead retreating. This was definitely not good news for the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan. All right. Let the disciples continue to explore the Starry Sky universe. If they encounter a place that they cannot resolve or a treasure land that they cannot resist, inform me. I will resolve it, Wang Xian said to Prime Minister Turtle. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head. After chatting for a while more, Prime Minister Turtle left. Wang Xian sat in the Dragon King Hall. In a flash, he came to a spot in the Dragon Field. In the Dragon Field, 100,000 dragon guards with sharp swords in their hands were sitting cross-legged and cultivating. The dragon guards, led by Roving Sword, had encountered some problems in their cultivation path. This was a problem with their cultivation technique. Therefore, the strength of the dragon guards was lagging behind the experts and disciples of the other dragon palaces. Now that they had the Tianyuan sword art, their cultivation could be considered to have returned to the path of striving. This was the only sword art cultivation art that the Dragon Palace had obtained. It was also a very terrifying cultivation method. One could imagine how terrifying the sword art of a sword cultivator universe was. Currently, among the 100,000 dragon guards, there were already more than 500 who had reached the sovereign realm. This number was not a lot. However, the speed of improvement of roving sword and the rest was terrifying. Because of their previous foundation, the speed of their improvement was much faster than that of the other experts of Dragon Palace. The reason was because of the sword art. As long as they could comprehend the sword art, they could directly break through the shackles. Their cultivation speed was only slightly slower than Wang Xian's. Now, as long as Wang Xian had sufficient resources, he could directly break through. He had yet to encounter the shackles. According to Wang Xian's conjecture, the shackles of his cultivation would be after the sovereign realm, the creation realm. In other words, if he wanted to break through to the creation realm, he would probably have to comprehend it himself and find his own opportunities. Time continued to pass. The peaceful days had also made Wang Xian feel more relaxed. Unless the disciples of the Dragon Palace found a treasure land in the starry universe, and there was a powerful starry sky beast in the treasure land. Otherwise, Wang Xian would not need to do anything under normal circumstances. Wang. In the blink of an eye, 1,000,000 years had passed. On this day, Wang Xian was wandering in the starry universe. Suddenly, he felt something. He immediately called an layover and returned to the Dragon Palace. In the Dragon King Hall of the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian stood in front of the dragon throne and lifted his head to look at the progenitor tree. He looked at the void dragon ball that seemed to be growing on the progenitor tree. Is the incubation a success? Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with anticipation. This was a brand new existence. Chapter 39:16. A few eons ago, the Void Dragon Pearl was created by a Divine Dragon Clan's Fortune Realm expert from the previous generation. Moreover, it was created together with other Sky Yuan Creation Realm experts. However, it did not succeed. Even though it failed, this Void Dragon Ball had always been preserved in the Divine Dragon Tribe's treasure vault. It was preserved as the most precious treasure. The previous Divine Dragon Tribe's Sky Yuan Creation Water Divine Dragon believed that the Void Dragon Ball could not be nurtured completely because it could not produce vitality. It could not produce intelligence. As a matter of fact, Divine Origin Creation Realm experts possessed terrifying power of creation. They could create a whole new race. The reason why they did not succeed was that the species they created was too powerful. It was just like how a Heaven Origin Creation Realm expert could easily create a high-level race. However, it would be difficult for them to create a pinnacle race. At most, they could create a few or even a dozen existences that were comparable to divine dragons. If they wanted to create them on a large scale, it would be difficult. However, if they wanted to create a mutated divine dragon, it would be even more difficult. In fact, it might even be impossible. The Void Divine Dragon was an existence that the Sky Yuan Creation Realm expert wanted to create. However, it was a pity that a mutated divine dragon was not that easy to create, especially when it was an existence where space was king. Therefore, it had not been successful. The previous Sky Yuan Creation Water Divine Dragon guessed that the progenitor tree's energy could completely nurture the Void Dragon Ball. Of course, this was just a guess. At this moment, Wang Xian looked at the scene before him with anticipation in his eyes. A few Sky Yuan Creation Realm experts worked together to create a Void Divine Dragon that had not been nurtured for several eons. Now, it seemed like it was about to be born. Above him, within the Dragon Ball, there was initially a tiny divine dragon embryo that looked like a fossil. At this moment, it seemed to have life and vitality of its own. Crack, crack. Gradually, cracks appeared on the entire Dragon Ball. The tiny divine dragon inside opened its mouth and devoured all the energy in the Dragon Ball. Crack, crack, crack. Crack, crack, crack. As time passed, the tiny divine dragon crawled out of the Dragon Ball. He opened his mouth and devoured the outer shell of the Dragon Ball. At this moment, Wang Xian suddenly felt a fuzzy feeling in his heart. What is this feeling? Wang Xian's heart skipped a beat as he stared at the divine dragon. The divine dragon stopped devouring and shook its head. It then looked at Wang Xian again. Then, He blinked his eyes and continued devouring. Buzz buzz. As the Shenron swallowed the entire Dragon Ball, his body became about 1 meter long. He still looked extremely weak. However, at this moment, some information appeared in Wang Xian's mind. It was the usage of some special energy. With a shift of his mind, the young Void Divine Dragon in front of him moved and came before Wang Xian in an instant. Then, it entered Wang Xian's body directly. This divine dragon did not seem to have a physical body. Indeed, it doesn't have a physical body. It's just like a Void Divine Dragon condensed from powerful spatial power. This Void Divine Dragon isn't an individual, but a part of my body. Wang Xian murmured. Yes, this effective divine dragon had now become a part of his body. Void, void, everything was void. When the Void Divine Dragon entered Wang Xian's body, Wang Xian felt an additional energy in his body. He looked ahead and moved his body. In an instant, he appeared in front of him. The distance wasn't very far. It was only about 1,000 meters. This was because the energy of the Void Divine Dragon in his body was too weak. It was so weak that it couldn't even reach the deity realm. Too weak. Although it was weak, this Void Divine Dragon possessed a horrifying ability to evolve. This ability to evolve was even stronger than the mutated Divine Dragon. It could be said to be the most unique mutated Divine Dragon in the Dragon Palace that could control spatial power. Enlai. With a thought, Wang Xian called Enlai over. At the same time, he set up a demonic soul altar at a corner of his body. It was a pity that Wang Xian couldn't sense the existence of the demonic soul altar, even though it was very close. It seems like I only possess spatial power, but I can't teleport through the demonic soul altar. This should be a unique characteristic of Enlai. Wang Xian thought to himself. Enlai was a unique existence. He might even be slightly different from the living beings of the Void Clan. In addition, he probably didn't have the ability to ignore any defenses or barriers. He only had the purest spatial power. Of course, it was possible that when the Void Divine Dragon reached a horrifying realm, he might be able to do what Enlai did. Dragon King. At this time, Enlai flew over and greeted Wang Xian. Bring me to your Void Tower. Wang Xian instructed him. Yes, Dragon King. Enlai nodded. The Void Tower was the supreme war treasure of the Void Clan's royal family. It was also an exceptionally precious treasure to the royal family. In the previous war, it was left behind in the Nine Source universe. The Void Pagoda contained boundless spatial energy. Enlai's strength had reached the second-order sovereign realm after tens of millions of years in the Void Tower. This cultivation speed wasn't considered slow. Of course, this was also due to the assistance of the Heart of Faith. The Heart of Faith also played a significant role in helping Enlai break through the shackles. When he came to the Void Tower, the Void Divine Dragon flew out of Wang Xian's body with a thought. Wang Xian began to control his mind. He shifted his mind to the body of the Void Divine Dragon. He looked at his body that was only about 1 meter tall, felt the surrounding spatial energy, and tried to absorb it. Wang Wang Wang. A large amount of spatial power surged into his body. Wang Xian felt his body improving rapidly. The speed of improvement was extremely fast. In just a few hours, Wang Xian felt that he had a breakthrough. He moved his palm and a space dagger appeared in his hand. He threw it far away, and the space dagger appeared 1,000 meters ahead. The dagger didn't fly over, but teleport. There was no time interval. In other words, his arm didn't fly over, but teleport. It looked extremely creepy and terrifying. This was the power of spatial power. So powerful. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He was ready to improve his Void Divine Dragon clone. This couldn't be considered a clone, because this Void Divine Dragon was Wang Xian's own body. It was just that the Void Divine Dragon didn't have a physical body. Wang Xian's body was a physical body. In short, the Void Divine Dragon was Wang Xian, and Wang Xian was this Void Divine Dragon. Chapter 39:17. I'll cultivate here for a while first. Wang Xian stood in the Void Tower and sensed the energy in the body of the Void Divine Dragon. He made up his mind. His Void Divine Dragon body was different from his original body. Due to its uniqueness, its body was condensed from the power of space, so its energy was somewhat incompatible with the 9 attributes in its body. Unlike the other 9 attributes in his body, metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, and darkness could be interchangeable. Since he couldn't convert it, he could only improve his space attribute through his own cultivation. Even if Wang Xian leveled up again, the space attribute would not change. Wang Xian would need to spend a large amount of time to improve his spatial energy. Now that Wang Xian had reached a bottleneck in obtaining resources for his advancement, there was no need for him to waste his time on other aspects. Instead, he could focus on cultivating the power of space. Having made up his mind, Wang Xian began cultivating in the Void Pagoda. The Void Tower contained enough spatial energy to allow him to improve tremendously. Time passed quickly. Tens of millions of years passed in a flash. Buzz. Wang Xian stood up and felt the strength in his body. He frowned slightly. Over 10 million years, he had only reached the level of an eternal divine lord. This speed was way too slow for Wang Xian. He had never cultivated so slowly before. One had to know that in the past, Wang Xian had cultivated to the pinnacle of the venerable realm after more than 10 million years. I can't directly break through by devouring treasures. Coupled with the fact that every breakthrough in the space attribute is somewhat difficult, it took me more than 10 million years to break through to this point, said Wang Xian. Another reason was that Wang Xian did not have any space attribute cultivation arts. He had to rely on himself to explore and comprehend. It was like a mortal who had the ability to absorb the power of space. However, he didn't know anything else and could only brace himself to absorb it. When one encountered a shackle, one had to comprehend it on their own and find their own direction. Fortunately, Wang Xian's realm was higher now. Hence, he could find a direction and make breakthroughs quickly. If it was a mortal, they might still be stuck in the divine spirit realm after more than 10 million years. This was the reason why there was no cultivation method. In the universe, there were many powerhouses who had lived for tens of millions of years, and some of them had not even reached the level of an eternal godlord. This was the effect of the cultivation method. As for Enlai, due to his special nature, he didn't know much about the use of space. What he was best at now was sneak attacks and instant kills. He really didn't have any powerful means. Therefore, this could not be taught to Wang Xian. Looks like I have to think of another way. Wang Xian thought to himself. If he could raise his spatial force to the 5th or 6th order sovereign realm, his strength would be even more terrifying. How about going to the sword and magic universe? An idea popped into Wang Xian's mind. In the universe of swords and magic, there was a passage in the treasury of the divine dragon race that could be entered directly. Entering a strange universe was both a crisis and an opportunity. However, the opportunities outweighed the dangers, especially when Wang Xian had the Tian Yuan Jade Horn. Without the existence of Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm spying on Wang Xian personally, no one would be able to discover his secret. They would think that he was a powerhouse of the sword and magic universe. Given Wang Xian's current combat strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to enter and search for opportunities. The only thing that could suppress him was the fortune of Heavenly Yuan. As for the others, they were simply not enough. The universe of swords and magic had the space attribute. Therefore, he could search for the cultivation method of the space attribute inside. Even if he cultivated in seclusion for 100 million years, he wouldn't be able to reach the supremacy realm. After making up his mind, Wang Xian immediately made his preparations. He had stepped into a new universe. At present, the Starry Sky universe had stabilized. Over at the Nine-Source universe, the Phoenix race and the Angel race could only rage helplessly. The Dragon Palace was steadily developing at a terrifying speed. In addition, Lan Qingyue and the rest had already broken through to the 8th Order Sovereign Realm, which was enough to solve most problems. Wang Xian got Enlai to bring him to the Dragon Palace. For the next period of time, he had fun and rested with the Dragon Queens for 100 years before coming to the treasury of the Divine Dragon race. The universe of swords and magic. Wang Xian stood below the whirlpool and sized it up with flickering eyes. This was a strange universe. Wang Xian had no idea what he would encounter inside. He looked at Enlai and nodded at him. Immediately after, Wang Xian and Enlai entered the whirlpool. Wang. When Wang Xian stepped in, the jade horn on the top of his head shone brightly and enveloped him entirely. Immediately after, an unfamiliar aura surged towards him. It was unfamiliar because he was unfamiliar with this world. Wang Xian was no stranger to the energy here. The energy that was almost similar to the nine-source universe: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, darkness, and space. Other than these, there were some other energies. Under the strong senses of Wang Xian's energy, this energy was a little sharp and unique. Every universe had its own unique characteristics. The Starry Sky universe was like this, and so was the universe of swords and magic. Wang. The scenery around him changed drastically. The scenery in front of him changed drastically. An endless desert appeared in his sight. At the same time, a special memory appeared in his mind. This memory seemed to be coordinates. These coordinates were the position he occupied when he came out. He looked behind him, which was also the position he came out from. This is the chaotic space of nothingness. Wang Xian looked behind him. The position behind him was the same as the edge of the Starry Sky universe and nine-source universe. There was no existence of energy, no existence of life. It was chaotic. There was nothing. Even a pinnacle sovereign realm expert wouldn't be able to survive for long inside. This was the end of a universe. According to the information left behind by the Divine Dragon clan, there was no starry sky in this universe of swords and magic. The sky was round and the earth was round. It was a vast and boundless continent, an immeasurable land. The end was the end of this chaos. The universe is really mysterious. It's hard to imagine how deep the land I'm stepping on is. Wang Xian murmured as he looked ahead again. Dragon King, the spatial energy in this universe is 1,000 times stronger than our nine-source universe. It's too dense. At the side, Enlai's eyes lit up as he looked around. The concentration of the space power here is just a little less than the void universe. Enlai could teleport to the location of the demonic soul altar. He had many coordinates of the demonic soul altar in his mind. He had been to an unfamiliar place before. Now, he could confirm that it was the void universe. Chapter 39:18. The universe of swords and sorcery was filled with the power of space. When cultivating here, the spatial fluctuations were more obvious than in the Void Pagoda. Of course, it did not mean that the space energy in the Void Pagoda was lesser. Wang Xian landed on the ground. This was a desert with endless sand before him. As far as the eye could see, there were no living beings. There were few living creatures living at the end of the universe. Due to the influence of the chaotic space, there would not be many resources here. Wang Xian sized up the surroundings before he flew into the air and headed in the direction ahead. Given Wang Xian's current strength, there were not many who were stronger than him below the creation realm of Heavenly Yuan. Flying at full speed, his speed was extremely terrifying. Enlai did not follow him, but returned to the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian shuttled through the air at a terrifying speed. Wang Xian flew for a month before he met any living creatures here. There was a horrifying giant centipede living in the desert. The centipede was 1,000 meters long and exuded a horrifying aura. However, this horrifying aura was much weaker than Wang Xian's. It was only at the level of an eternal divine lord. This kind of strength was considered not bad in the nine-source universe. After all, this was a very remote place. It was rare to see such a powerful creature. Wang Xian willed his space divine dragon body to fly out and instantly appeared above the giant centipede. Wang Xian appeared above the giant centipede. With a wave of his arm, a space slash landed on the body of the giant centipede. The horrifying tearing force immediately left a long scar on the body of the giant centipede. This giant centipede was in pain. Sensing Wang Xian's presence, it immediately attacked him. When Wang Xian saw it, he immediately teleported away. The giant centipede's sharp claws failed. It opened its mouth angrily, and a torrent attacked the direction where Wang Xian teleported. The horrifying coverage almost sealed off all the routes of escape for Wang Xian. Wang Xian quickly teleported away from the attack range of the giant centipede. The giant centipede roared with indignation and stared at Wang Xian with its blood-red eyes. The strength of this giant centipede was around level 7 Eternal Divine Lord, while Wang Xian's strength was only at level 4 Eternal Divine Lord. Even so, Wang Xian could easily escape if he wanted to. This was the power of spatial cultivators. However, spatial cultivators also have a bit of a drawback. That is, there's nothing they can do if they encounter experts with terrifying defensive power, said Wang Xian. Defense was the only thing that could restrain spatial experts. It couldn't be said that it could be countered. Opponents with strong defense could not do anything to experts with the space attribute. Of all the attributes, space was king. This was not a casual statement. Of course, this was based on the combination of attributes, such as light, darkness, and the 5 elements. Whoosh! Wang Xian's real body flew towards the giant centipede. In an instant, he landed above the centipede and began his soul-sucking technique. In the face of Wang Xian, the giant centipede was defenseless. Waves of information appeared in Wang Xian's mind, giving Wang Xian a better understanding of this universe. This giant centipede had no intelligence and was known as the Eternal Beast. The so-called magical beasts were creatures that were filled with a demonic nature. They were incomparably violent and irrational. From the chaotic memories of the Eternal Beast, Wang Xian obtained a piece of information. Information about the magic country. The so-called magic country was the information of a country, a human country that wasn't too far away from here. Based on the information he obtained, Wang Xian immediately flew towards the magic country. After flying in the air for half a month, Wang Xian saw a huge human gathering place in his sight. This was a magic country built on an oasis in the desert. The architectural style was completely different from the 9-source universe. Magic towers that were hundreds of thousands of meters tall stood on the ground. The magic towers emitted light that illuminated the entire area. There were more than 10 magic towers that formed a unique formation. Wang Xian looked around and realized that the strongest expert in the entire magic country was only at the level of the Eternal Lord God. This didn't interest him much. He locked on to the strongest aura in this magic country. Whoosh! Wang Xian flew over at a terrifying speed, and none of the experts sensed him. Wang. In the next second, on a magic tower in the center of this magic country. On the top of the tower, an old man was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. Even though Wang Xian was standing 3 meters away from him, he didn't sense him. There was still a world of difference between him and Wang Xian. Soul assimilation. Wang Xian waved his arm and a surge of energy surged into the old man's body. It was easy for Wang Xian to perform the soul assimilation on an expert at the level of the Eternal Lord God. In fact, he could even do it. After performing the soul assimilation, the old man didn't feel anything unusual and didn't sense anything. It wouldn't even hurt his soul. Waves of information entered Wang Xian's mind and gave him a better understanding of this universe. The continent of swords and magic. This was what the living beings in this universe called this universe. It wouldn't be an issue to call it a continent. On this continent, there were countless magic countries. Some were established by experts, while some were established by powerful forces. The larger magic countries had trillions of people, while the smaller ones had billions of people. The size of their territories varied. Other than the magic countries, there were other forces. Among them, the top forces were also known as the Sacred Lands, Forbidden Lands, and Sacred Institutes. The Sacred Lands and Forbidden Lands were all guarded by experts who had lived for countless years and were earth-shattering. The continent of swords and magic was incomparably vast. The information Wang Xian obtained from the old man's mind was only a small part of it. This information didn't even reach the Sacred Lands and Sacred Institutes. All he knew was that this was an existence that even the Eternal Lord God yearned for. In addition, he also obtained some useful information from the old man's memory. The space attribute had a great advantage in this continent. Powerful and talented space attribute cultivators were the targets of competition among the major forces. Space attribute cultivators usually took the path of sword cultivation. This was because the space attribute would be even more powerful when used in close combat. Over here, the names of cultivators were similar to those in the 9-source universe. This old man was a rank 9 eternal magus. He specialized in the earth attribute. Sword cultivators in this realm were known as the Eternal Sword Master. The realms above them were the Immortal Sword King and the Immortal Law King. The names were very similar to those in the Nine-Source universe. However, the attack methods were slightly different. Chapter 39:19. According to the memories that Wang Xian had obtained, the cultivation in the sword and sorcery cosmos was better at long-range attacks. Their close combat abilities were not strong. In fact, they were a little weak. Once a sorcerer was engaged in close combat with a swordsman of the same level, there was a high chance that he would be killed. Swordsmen were better at close combat and were much weaker at long-range attacks. The sorcerers here are a little similar to the sorcerer tribe's array sorcerers. Wang Xian murmured to himself. He took a look at the old man and disappeared in an instant. Not long after Wang Xian left, the old man opened his eyes slowly with a confused look on his face, following which, his heart tightened, and he quickly scanned his surroundings with a look of horror. "Thank you for not killing me, Senior. Thank you for not killing me." The old man continued to murmur. To Ming-Yi's Sacred Institute. When Wang Xian flew out of this place, he had a goal in mind. There was no cultivation method in the Sorcery Kingdom. The strongest space swordsman was only at the level of Eternal Swordmaster. His strength was not even on par with him. According to the old man's memories, he flew in a direction at high speed. His destination was Ming-Yi's Sacred Institute. Ming-Yi's Sacred Institute was the closest and strongest force to this place. As a sacred institute, it was guarded by a terrifying ruler. According to the old man's memories, Ming-Yi's Sacred Institute had just become a sacred institute not long ago and was currently recruiting core students. Yes, Wang Xian was going to Ming-Yi's Sacred Institute to seek knowledge. If this were to spread in the Nine-Source universe, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. But this was indeed the case. Wang Xian had already cultivated the cultivation method of the Nine-Source universe to the extreme. He had even evolved into the only Nine-Source divine dragon and mastered 9 attributes. However, the space cultivation technique was a cultivation technique from another universe. Wang Xian did not know anything about it. He had to find the cultivation method. Seeking knowledge was the fastest way to do so. It was also a peaceful way. Wang Xian had another way, which was to kill his way to a powerful sacred institute and collect the cultivation method of the space cultivation method. But Wang Xian eventually gave up on such a high-profile action. If he attracted a lot of attention, he might not be able to return to the Nine-Source universe. It was better to keep a low profile outside. It would not be too late to be high-profile when he was able to fight against Tianyuan. With this thought in mind, Wang Xian flew towards a direction rapidly. After flying for a year, they encountered quite a number of birds that belonged to this universe along the way. There were people of all levels. A year later, Wang Xian arrived at a magic city in the capital of a magic nation. Wang Xian landed on the ground and got a feel of this magical world. After which, he teleported to another place through the space teleportation formation. The spatial teleportation of the sword and magic universes was even more advanced than that of the 9 essences universes. After all, the spatial attribute here was more concentrated. Their teleportation arrays also led to various places. After a month of continuous teleportation, Wang Xian arrived at the magic city. This was a magic city in the air. Enormous magic arrays and treasures supported the entire city. This huge city was called Ming-Yi's Sacred Institute Elementary Courtyard. There were 2 academies in the Sacred Academy, the Elementary Academy and the Advanced Academy. The Advanced Academy was not far from here. This Ming-Yi's Sacred Academy was an academy with dozens of magic kingdoms under its banner. The elite disciples of the magic nation were scrambling to enter the Holy Academy. The entire academy taught magic and swordsmanship, including the cultivation of the spatial attribute. According to Wang Xian's investigations along the way, there were space experts of the universe supremacy level in Ming-Yi's Sacred Academy. This was also the reason why Wang Xian was so sure about this place. Although he could have gone to the more central and powerful forbidden grounds of the Sacred Academy to study, this Ming-Yi's Sacred Academy was not a bad choice. Walking out of the teleportation formation, Wang Xian was dressed in luxurious clothes and held an ordinary sword in his hand. He had 2 horns on his head and exuded an unparalleled aura. The aura he exuded was only at the level of a level 4 eternal God Lord. He was not strong, but definitely not weak either. This was Wang Xian's current attire. His main body was hidden in the mother nest, dormant. He could be awakened at any time. After checking the route, Wang Xian headed towards the registration area of the Ming-Yi Sacred Academy. The Ming-Yi Sacred Academy was a force that had just been promoted to a sacred academy not long ago and was currently recruiting disciples. As long as one possessed potential and strength, he or she could come to the Sacred Academy to take the assessment. If he or she passed the assessment, he or she could join the Sacred Academy directly. There was no fixed time for the assessment. As long as one met the requirements, he or she could enter the Ming-Yi Sacred Academy at any time. Wang Xian passed through a few short-distance teleportation formations and arrived at the assessment area of the Ming-Yi Sacred Academy. The assessment area was also at the entrance of the Ming-Yi Sacred Academy. The entire entrance of the Ming-Yi Sacred Academy looked extremely majestic. This was a city floating in the air, and the Ming-Yi Sacred Academy belonged to the sky of the floating city. At a glance, one would have to climb a few thousand steps to arrive at the entrance. At the front of the steps, there were the words assessment. As long as one injected energy, someone would come for the assessment. This Ming-Yi Sacred Academy is much more majestic than the high-level races in the Nine-Source universe. Wang Xian sized up the surroundings as his eyes sparkled. There was a huge difference between the Sword and Magic universe and the Nine-Source universe. That was, the powerful forces of the Sword and Magic universe were not organized in groups. It was not like the Nine-Source universe, which was divided into the Divine Dragon race, the Black Tortoise race, the Skeleton race, and so on. Most of the people here were humans, and many of them had the same physique. The level of the forbidden grounds of the Sacred Academy could be compared to the peak races in the Nine-Source universe. However, in reality, their strength might be much weaker than the peak races in the Nine-Source universe. This was because there were many sacred academies and the like here. In the entire Sword and Magic universe, there might be tens of thousands of such forces. This was because the experts here were very scattered. This also meant that many of their powerful cultivation techniques had spread far and wide. They did not place too much emphasis on bloodlines and physique. This also meant that people born in ordinary families also had the opportunity to step onto the peak. As for the Nine-Source universe, it was much more difficult there. In fact, if the experts of the high-level races did not open a path to the Starry Sky universe, it would be extremely difficult to step into the Sovereign Realm. The widespread of cultivation and law enforcement also meant that even an ordinary force could produce sovereign experts and slowly become a sacred ground. To Wang Xian, the environment for learning was very good. His gaze landed on the word, seek knowledge. Wang Xian used the spatial force in his body and blasted it directly. He blasted his energy into the interior of the word,